Hey, how you doing, Ian? Can you hear me? Make sure that it's plugged in. I'm not on this part yet, so trying to advertise me out. Where are these? Am I missing a group here? Oh, I've been good. How about yourself, Ian? How you doing, Tracy? Are you like over your dusting of snow now? Because we don't have any. You guys will have to forgive me. I'm trying to tell people that I'm on, and I'm trying to find a certain group. There it is. Let me post it on here real quick. Well, hold on a second. Let me get. I'm missing the. I can't read. It's like right where my bifocals can't read and my regular eyeballs can't. I got to get this phone up. Let me get on YouTube here. I'll open up my chat. Yeah, my channel, not that channel. Okay, there we are. Ooh, how do we pronounce that name? Is it Kahalias? Yeah, you have to kind of help me with that pronunciation. How you doing, Paranormal? We're gonna see who pops in. Advertise it on the two YouTube groups. We'll see what's going on. I gotta grab a notebook. Hold on. Okay. Might need. So I did some rehousing today. I left work 2 hours early. I got some stuff I needed to do before I got home, and I'm really crampy. My MD's killing me today. I need a little stand right here so I can, this phone right here. I don't have anything. I don't think I have it. I had something nice at work. I just set my phone on my little desk there, but yeah, I appreciate that, Ian. I'm really having fun with them, and they're actually well received. I'm surprised that the compliments I'm getting. I haven't had any negative feedback on any of the podcasts yet, so I still have a good handful of topics that I want to tackle. One big topic that I still haven't written it yet, and some people know because I've asked questions of some people about it, but I'm keeping this now. I used to have this goatee the whole time, but then I started shaving, and it itches. um, yeah, the big topic. It's more of a. I don't even want to talk about it. I'd rather just do the podcast. I think a lot of people will enjoy it. Some people may disagree with some of the things, but I think everybody's gonna enjoy it. How you doing, Z's? Oh, thanks. No, I appreciate the podcast feedback. They're flowing a little bit better. Did you guys okay with the ad there for Pelt Friction? That wasn't too overbearing, was it? This one was a longer one, I think, right? I think this one was a half an hour. So anyway, I did some rehousing today. This this one right, this gal right here, we moved. That's the female Davus penaloris. I did a quick video. It'll be in an update video later on. Her, and then we did this one. I don't know how well you'll be able to see. This guy was a little bit smaller than what I thought, but I wanted to move it into something. Oh, I unplugged that. That's right. This is the Formingocheilus rufus, a species rufus, I should say. It's still only small, but the colors are starting to pop on it, and I wanted to give it something a little bit more clear so that I could see it a little bit better. Because the little vial that it was in was real. It was like this vial right here. It was real skinny, and the whole entire thing was webbed up. So I never really got a chance to see it. So I thought I would move it into something a little bit more grown up. It's got a long ways to go to really grow into this thing, but yeah, I'm kind of happy. That went pretty seamless. So did the Davus penaloris female, went in pretty good too. Yeah, work was a little slow today, actually. Well, it wasn't slow, because I was busy the first part of the day for we had a robot issue that I'd take care of. It just took a little while to get situated, but and it was dead from there. Yeah, she's still hidden. I sprayed her yesterday, so she'll go through today, and then tomorrow will be a light misting, and then 2 days later we'll douse her again. That's been my routine so far. She's down, way down on the bottom now. So she's tucked into the bottom of her cork bark. And she hasn't opened up. So as long as she doesn't open up, then I know that she's still she's still clutching. If I see her out or opened up, then I need to worry. But I think we're just gonna leave them in there and let mom. We're gonna let them come out on their own. So you're probably thinking of like, oh no, maybe day 40, 45. If I don't see anything at day 40, then I may pull the egg sac at day 40. But most people are pulling them at 30. I'm gonna leave it in there and let mom do her thing, because I don't want to screw it up myself. So I want these little babies pretty bad. So I think I'm gonna let her do it. How you doing, Alien? I have to. You guys gotta like send me your links to some of your channels, because I don't even know who I'm sub to. I didn't even know you had a channel, Paranormal. I probably should have, but yeah, if you could send me a message through YouTube, or hit me up on Facebook or whatever, and link me to your channels if I'm not already subscribed. Sometimes I see a name in here and I don't know, what the name is on YouTube, or actually who's Facebook, or who you are on Facebook too. Yeah. So there's the mall mums here. I just watched a rehousing video with you and Sophie and your wonderful nails. I'll start doing those videos that you asked for tomorrow. We'll get the first couple done. I'll get them sent to you. But she's such a doll, so grown up too. If you guys haven't checked out Princess Sophie Pink, her channel, go check it out. She's just a wonderful little keeper. How old is she? I'm gonna guess 6, maybe 7, would be my guess. But yeah, I only watched one quick video before, but this one I was pretty impressed with. Just her demeanor on camera, really, to be honest with you. There's no hesitation in anything that she's doing or saying. I kind of like that. I just watched it too, just before I started live here. 7, yeah, I remember when my daughter was 7, 10 years ago. Oh, 11 years ago. Yeah, she is. She's definitely the future. You got her and Natalie from Natalie's Eight-Legged Adventures, and of course Winton. You know, those three are definitely three that you guys got to take a look at because they're going to be the future. Yeah, you have to, and you it shows in her too. That's the cool thing is that same with Winton and Natalie. It just shows, you know, shows how much they care for what they're doing, and they may not be able to manipulate it. Well, I think Winton can, but they may not be able to manipulate everything. That you know, it may need some grown up assistance. But I was really impressed with their nails. So I'm going to be on for quite a while, a few hours. So we'll talk about whatever you guys want to talk about, and yeah, you got to check her out, Tracy. She's just a wonderful little girl, and mom too. We'll be doing a some collab stuff for her. She came up with 10 questions that we're going to do a series of videos, and we're each going to answer them. Whoever does it, and she'll put it all on her channel there. those were pretty long. I can imagine how a 7-year-old gets on with those nails, but I was pretty impressed. My wife never did the girly things with the nails or anything like that. Just whatever they were, they were. No molts. I guess we did have one. Um, this little one here. This is one of the two Avicularia urinensis morph type 2s that are left. I had three. This one molted, I don't know, a handful of days ago. The its legs are so thin, it looks like spaghetti. It ate, I mean, like real thin spaghetti. This one ate yesterday. So I took a picture of it. It's on Instagram, actually. Avicularia slings are just fun. You know, they're cute. And that one came out and walked around a little bit, but okay, I'll check that out on Instagram. Yeah, you never know when it's going to happen. They take their time. They look like they're, especially the Pulchripes. Not him because he was pretty good with his molts, but the larger female, she would be in pre-molt for like 3 months, just dark as you know as can be, and stretch like a grape. And then she would molt. She wouldn't hardly gain any size. Same thing with him. I mean, he wasn't gaining much size every time he molted, but I don't have many, Ian. I have the Carabina lata, which isn't an avicularia anymore, but it's still in the Aviculariinae family. Then we have the two urinensis, and I have two marinae, and then the one I don't know what it is. We just Avicularia species. Um, the marinae, I think I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. It may, you know, it's probably spelled accented a little bit different, but I think those are probably my favorite, along with the Variegata. I like the Variegata, and I think it's because they're, you know, they get that brownish look to them. I just kind of like that brownish look. And Avicularia rufa, another one I'd like to pick up, but I am so overwhelmed with what I have here and what's coming in. I can't get any more. I have three Harpactira pulchripes that are coming in from an auction for um, the Tarantula Keepers Coalition. If I could take a second just to talk about the Tarantula Keepers Coalition, I know there's not that many people in here, but it's a group of people here from the United States. They formed it's like a nonprofit business, and what they're trying to do is help fight some of the Lacey laws that we have here, the Lacey Act laws that we have here, and um, you know, basically the USFWS and what they're trying to stipulate here as far as what can be shipped and what can't be shipped and what can be imported, what can't be imported, stuff like that. And right now the drive is they're trying to raise $14,000, and with that $14,000, they will be building a small facility in Sri Lanka to study and research the Sri Lankan Poecilotheria or Poecilotheria species, and it will also set aside 13 acres of land that there, I believe, are two species of Poecilotheria there in that 13 acres of land that will be protected. They won't be able to deforestize that land, which is a huge thing. There's great people running it, great people trying to do it. They have a GoFundMe thing right now. Just go to the Tarantula Keepers Coalition on Facebook if you guys want to check it out, see what they're doing. Every dollar counts. I think you can only do $5 with the GoFundMe thing, but we're doing these different auctions. I'm kind of hoping that maybe they can get something over there in the UK, maybe with Spiders World or what's all over there, Spiders World EU, and then the Spider Shop, and I don't think Tarantula's Bristol's around anymore, right? But anyway, whatever shops are over there, maybe we can get something involved with them that they can give some stuff away over there too. No, a C. versity is not an avicularia. It's in the Aviculariinae family. They used to be Avicularia, but because of their the setae type setae that they had, almost like the on their rear, they almost had that mirror patch to them. Those and Carabina lata. I think there's one more Carabina, isn't there, that were moved out of the Avicularia into a Carabina. So they used to be. So they're similar, but not exactly the same. So Carabina and Eberpora are the two genus or two genera with Avicularia that belong to the Aviculariinae family. Yeah, it is kind of interesting when you have one that loses a leg and they molt it back. Depending on the size of it, you have an adult one, it'd take like 2 or 3 molts for it to come back to a normal look with the setae. It's not that long, skinny, unhairy look to them. But slings usually pretty quickly will bring that leg back to a normal look. If not the first molt, the second molt after they lose it. I don't have any Carabina Verses anymore. I was pretty sad that I finally got one in and then it got stuck in a molt. Yeah, I raised one Versi to a mature male. I had no problem with that one whatsoever. And then I got one in that I knew from the beginning wasn't very well off. Lasted about 3 or 4 months before it passed away. And this last one I got, I think I had it for about 2. It molted once, it did well, and it fed, and then the second molt, it just, I mean, the legs didn't come out, it just popped the carapace, that was it. There was nothing else left. And I was pretty particular about, you know, the ventilation in that, because they were small. I didn't use a water dish, but I was pretty particular about making sure that that one, the Carabina lata, and the Marinades had water every 3 or 4 days on their webbing, so they had something to drink. But sometimes you just can't help. You could have the best husbandry in the world and you still lose one. It kind of sucks. But oh, that's yeah, Iberport Diversipies. That was one I wanted to get before and I never did. I have the Iridopelma hierstum, which kind of resembles that, but and they're both really quick. The Iberpora soratoma that I had was one that constantly came out of the enclosure. I've had it on my door, I had it behind the shelves once or twice. So I sent that off because it was male. I sent that off to Pelt Friction so they'd be able to use him for future breedings. Yeah, try Sednoctimus brachyramosa paranormal. Those ones grow extremely slow too. It's a Malaysian fossorial species, very, very slow growing. Yeah, that's why I got the Harpactira pulchripes, because I have a young juvenile female. So I figure with the 3 small slings, they're about ½ inch, maybe a little bit more, that I'll get a male out of those and then be able to use that as a breeding project for her. That's what I'm kind of looking for, things that I want to breed. Mostly African stuff, Chilobrachys is stuff I'd like to breed, even though the problem with Chilobrachys is that they're a very, very cheap spider. That they don't cost a lot of money, so They breed real easy, and they don't have a ton of babies, but they have enough babies. And it's something that I've been trying to theorize different things. Like African species are very, very easy to breed, um, and they're very, very gentle on males. Asian species breed really easy. I don't know how well they are with males, but um, you don't really see many Asian species, fossorial species, that are having like issues as far as dwindling numbers, like you do some of the other species, Brazilian species, and even some of the species here in the United States. So those are kind of things I want to work with. I mean, I have some females I'd like to breed. My Poecilotheria fusca, I'd love to breed her. I just can't find a male for her. Um, but I have a female NNC that could have been bred for the last year, and everybody that wants to send me one, their males never last. I do have someone sending me another mature male, Homo ioma chilensis. We're going to try to pair my female again with this male. Um, we'll see. I mean, she could be gravid from the last pairing because it was so quick, we don't know. So we figured we would give this a shot and see. And then I have another person that's got a mature male. Now, I mean, there are mature males everywhere now. I think there's 4 of them going around just in our little group of people over here, just a little circle that we, kind of run in over here. But yeah, it's easier if you know, and it's hard to know everything, about the species that you're getting. I mean, I've gotten ones in that have been freebies I knew nothing about, like like this one right here I was talking about earlier, the little tiny Formingocheilus species rufus that's in here somewhere, probably buried in the moss is where it went to, but I knew nothing about this. I had no interest in them whatsoever. Um, I saw the pictures. They're very, very beautiful spiders, but I'm not a huge Asian arboreal fan, so I didn't really want to get into them, but it came as a freebie. And I really haven't done a lot of research, but I did watch. If you guys haven't watched Tarantulas with Shanti, she's got her channel's really, really changed dramatically from the beginning to where she's at now. And she did a really nice video on the Formingocheilus species rufus. I actually learned a few things from it, so kind of helped me on what I'm doing with mine. But yeah, getting to know something a little bit more. I always found that the groups are huge if you know how to use them. And like I've said, I think I did that with my one podcast, that Tarantula Keeping 101, is finding some people that you trust, that give out good information and that are willing to work with people, and just send them a friend request and then message them and say, hey, look, I'm kind of new. I'm looking at getting this or that. Could you help me a little bit? And there's quite a few people. I mean, I'm talking to people all day. There's quite a few people that will actually, help people like that. And you'll be more apt to get help prior to getting them than you will after you get them from some people. But that's the best way to do, is try to learn what you can before. But once you start doing this, you start getting more and more spiders in. The care, it's just husbandry care really that changes. It's do I need to dampen the substrate? How deep do we need the substrate? What kind of enclosure are we using? But basically, tarantula care is tarantula care. So once you really start getting into learning one, the other ones aren't really all that difficult. You have the ability to do it. It's just the fine tuning everything. Yeah, they are. Versicolors are awesome. It's a shame I don't have any, but and I probably should get some. I just don't have the room for it. You could see, I mean, the bottom shelf, they're missing the 4 OBTs, which are sitting down here right now, the Usumbaras. But the whole bottom shelf is pretty much full with their African and Asian slings that are in all of those. And so we have one Poecilotheria, so that's an Asian. One Avicularia marinae. So that's, I think, the only New World one is the Avicularia marinae up there. The rest of them are all Old World stuff. So, and I have 3 more of these vials left. Like I said, I have the 3 Harpactira pulchripes coming, and then I have stuff coming end of April. Some more African species will be coming the end of April in an import. So, kind of have to watch the Poecilotheria metallica will probably move. This next molt we'll need to move into something bigger, probably something like those up there. I have a couple of those laying around, so we'll probably move that one into that. But there's a couple, in like this vial here. I mean, it's not quite as big, of course. You can see the difference between them. This is the Iridopalma hierstum. This one probably should go in an enclosure like this to give it a little bit more height. It's one of the ones I look forward to rehousing the least because it's so quick. And it's very, very unpredictable spider. Yeah, actually, Grammostola pulchripes are actually pretty good eaters, and so are the curly hairs. I know you have curly hair. Um, the Brachypelma albopilosum, they're pretty good eaters too. You should pick up if you don't have a vagans, you should pick up a Brachypelma vagans. I think that kind of completes that whole little group that you have there. They're great spiders. They're great eaters. They grow at a decent pace, and they're really cool looking. And I don't know why they're so frowned on in the hobby just because they're basic. I don't go to arachnoboards very often. Um, I kind of use some of the people that really do avicularia, Iberopora, and Carabina stuff on the tarantula community group when I need to know anything with Avix. I'm not the one that's going to be able to give you really solid information on them. I can give you stuff that I've worked with and what I've done with them, but there's some people on the tarantula community that are really big into Avix and the Avicularinae subfamily or family. That'd be the subfamily, right? Um, that have a lot of knowledge in them. So if I need a question answered, I just go to them. I can't tell you even the last time I went to arachnoboards, to be honest with you. It just never really, it never, I don't know. It's a different kind of group, and I mean, I'll go there to browse for like maybe breeding reports or, if I go on, do a Google search, and I'm searching for something specific, and an arachnoboards post comes up, that's where I'll go because I'm going to get more solid information there than I will some of the other places that like Wikipedia and stuff like that. But I don't generally go there. There's still going to be another refinement of the Avicularia genus, so I don't know when that's coming, when Fukushima and I can't remember the other taxonomist, but I think they have more work that's coming. They still need to separate a few things. The slowest growing tea? No, there's a bunch of them that you can say comparatively. I don't own one, but the Pseudohapalopa species blue is very, very slow growing. The Homoioma chilensis, any of the Homoioma species. It used to be the Euaphyllus species yellow. I think that's the Olarinari. I can't remember the exact species name for that one. But they're very, very slow growing. Stenoctomus brachyhermosa grows slow. The Pliniobis muticus, of course, the king baboon grows slow. But my Plesiopelma species Bolivia is a slow grower. My Lasiodorides polycuspalitis is very, very slow. I swear that one actually loses size when it molts, but some of your dwarfs grow real quick, but my species Chica seem to be growing relatively slow. And my Avicularias, they're not quick growers either. But I mean, if I had to pick one, just on in my experience here, I would probably go with my Lasiodorides polycuspalitis. I got it in as a 3/4 inch sling, and I think it's just a little over 1 inch, maybe 1.25 inches, and it's molted 3 times. So you see how much size it's picked up each one of those times. Yeah, a lot of Brachypelmas are kind of slow growers, but I don't think they're as slow growing as most people think they are. I mean, you get them in as that 1/4 inch size. From a 1/4 inch to 1 inch is going to take you over a year. A year and a half, maybe 2 years to get to that point. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But there's like the Homoioma chilensis and the Pseudohapalopa species blue. Maybe 3 or 4 years before you even get to the 1 inch size. So, and they're long-lived tarantulas too. Even males live quite a long time. So, yeah. My G. rosea is growing rather, I'd say moderately. I wouldn't say quick. I'd say moderately. She's kind of not eating right now. The Porteri, quote unquote, um, that one grew at a little quicker pace because it was smaller when it came in, so they're kind of the same size now. But that one seems to eat a lot better than the Rosea does, or the RCF, whatever you want to call them, than the red colored form. Yeah, the Saba Blues. It's everyone crazy for those, and that well, what's the one, the species Biru, that actually got a name change now to something specified. I don't even remember. They're kind of cool looking. I just don't know. I didn't see them in front of me. You know, I see pictures online, and you just don't know how the pictures are, if they're doctored at all, if you know what kind of lighting it is. You see them in real life, like a Chelobrachys species electric blue. When it's in front of you and you have no flash on it, there's no blue on it whatsoever. You can't see it. You have to have light on it to be able to see it. And I mean, it's really cool when you see it, but you actually have to have light on it to do it. Um, I really didn't prep her too much. I fed her more than I normally did, but she wasn't a huge eater anyway. What I did with her was I sprayed her down. I didn't soak her, but I sprayed her down for about 2 weeks. So you kind of give it that end of the year rain that they go through, and then I let it dry, and then the mail came in. So I kind of did a 3 week thing before the mail got here. But then, like I said, she paired quick, and then she ate them. So I don't know. I mean, she could be gravid right now, and I don't know. When I got her in, when I bought her here at an expo. Um, that's the size she's at right now. When she molted, she hasn't gained any size. I brought her home, and 3 weeks later, she laid an egg sac. I didn't even know. She didn't look huge. She laid an egg sac, and then it was about, I think it was day 19. The egg sac was out of her den in the corner of the enclosure with a little opening, and she was away from it. Um, it's almost like she tore it open, or it got caught on something as she was pulling it out. I'm not sure, but I couldn't save the babies. Most of them already had dried out. I think there were a couple eggs with legs, and they didn't make it either. But so she's proven, and I didn't know she was gravid last time, so I'm kind of hoping that she already is. And you know, the male coming in may just be you know, a safety kind of deal. You know, if she isn't gravid, then we'll try pairing them. But yeah, I don't know. I hate to throw another male in there for her to eat. Yeah, John's got some stuff. You know, his early stuff, I'd say, is a lot more informative than any of his new stuff. He just does feeding videos when he gets an opportunity now. You know, Tom's Tom. Everybody goes to Tom. Tom does a lot of time and research, and the way he sets up his videos and his informational videos are very easy to follow. That's why a lot of people like him. But he does the same research that I do, and some of the other people that I just don't set my videos up like he does. I'm gonna try do a couple like that, but yeah. Who's EA? I'm trying to think of who EA would be. I don't I don't really watch the DTG. I just don't agree with some of the things that she does, so I don't really support it. I don't think that you know, you shouldn't. I don't think you should pair spiders and then force the male on the female. I don't like that, and I've seen her do that way more than should be. And if they're not doing it naturally, I mean, why force them? It's just impatient. No, paranormal. I don't think it is. Um, I mean, I really, it's been, like I said, about 5 years for me solid, and then 10 years prior to that, and I don't have a Theraposa at all. So, you know, I mean, there's ones that you just don't have interest in, or you just, oh, I'll get it later, I'll get it later, I'll get it later, and then end up never getting it. Now, I mean, take your time. It's not that bad, Alien. If you just You just do it right. And I, I mean, my method I think is foolproof. If you put something inside their enclosure, and I don't know if I have what I did with that. Anyway, let me see if I have it here. This is one of the things I use. Okay, so this is a plastic, piece of acrylic. It's like 1/4 inch thick. It's got a deli cup. It's got something a little bit bigger for something different, and then this is would be the size of a 50-dram vial. So if I need to move like a spider out of a 50-dram vial, what I'll do is I'll put this over top like this, and then we'll put the other 50-dram vial that I'm putting it into to move. Like this is my transfer one on top, and this has got holes in it, so I just poke down and get the spider to come up in there. Then I'll just slide the top, so that it's covered, and then we'll put the top on and I'll make my move. But I have another one of these that's exactly like this. It's got a bunch of holes in it, and then I'll put this over top of, we'll say like this enclosure here. You put it over top of it like here, and you have all these different holes, and then you take your transfer container and you put it in there first, whatever size you need, and then you can manipulate the spider with this as your lid, this inside your catch cup, and you can move it inside with, I use, they're not sitting right here, of course. I use like the wooden skewer sticks that you would do for like shish kebabs or something like that, and I make sure that the holes are the size exactly for those, and that they're close enough together that you can move it in and out of those, and just kind of guide it into one of those, whatever enclosure you need, whatever catch cup you're going to move it in. Or you could just do the normal catch cup method where you get the spider out and just put the, the whatever 16-ounce or 22-ounce pop container or water bottle or whatever with the bottom cut off. You could do it that way too. I like to make it safe for both myself and the spider, and give it less of a chance of running on me. Well, there's really no chance of running on me unless I'm, get it into the vial, because I've had them crawl into the vial here, and when I went to put the lid on, they run out real quick. But I've never really had, that's a pretty foolproof method, I think. I'll try to have to do a video on me doing that. I did one before. I'll have to do another one when we do another rehouse, the way I do it, so that everybody can see it. The OBTs aren't as bad as everybody says they are. I'm just going to call you Mom. They really aren't as bad as people make them out to be. What you see is people that try to get a rise out of them on YouTube, so they're going to poke them and prod them before they start filming, so they're up in the air, and then next thing you know, they breathe on them the wrong way, and then they take off. And right now, what happens if you agitate them in their home, they're going to defend it, and then when they feel that they can't defend it anymore, they're going to take off. So if you do not give them that opportunity, if you don't present that stimulus to them, they're going to be perfectly fine. They may give you a threat posture. They're just going to defend their property. Once they start doing that, just back off. Let them be. Cover them back up. Wait till they calm down and start all over again. Too many people want to just, because they're impatient. People just want to, I got to get this done right now, so I don't care if it's doing this. Next you know, it's in the closet somewhere, and you definitely don't want that. But they're not that bad. Oh yeah, elbows just go crazy. They slow down a little bit when they're bigger, but when they're young, they're constantly tunneling. Classies take a long time to grow too. They're a pretty slow growing species, and they'll be in a pre-molt, or what you're seeing, what I saw with yours. You're seeing I would call it the pre-molt, where it's like long and shiny, but it's not dark yet. And you see that, you see the line that goes down the middle of them. Would be their heart line. If you watch that actually really, really close, you can actually see, especially when you have an enlarged or engorged tarantula in the back end, you can actually see their heartbeat. I think I've done 2 videos with close-ups of their heartbeat. It's pretty cool. But I would say your classy still has about another 2 months to go before that one will molt. You'll see how close I am. I have an A moderatum. I've had for over a year that hasn't molted yet, and it's still, a little over an inch, maybe inch and a quarter, inch and a half ish. It hasn't molted one time. Yeah, that's where it is. The oral and a, oral and I guess that would be pronounced right. Oral and I, homoioma. Yeah, I think the Biru. Well, they're new. They have a new name. I don't know. I can't tell you what the new name is. They're actually the specified name, so it's not, that it's not even in that genus anymore. It's something completely different. So the people, whoever, it was somebody, and I think Daniela Sherwood. I think you guys should know Daniela over there in the UK. Um, Her and somebody else classified the spider, and the gentleman that did it, he named the species name as a combination of his three kids' names, and they were Roxanne, Igor, and can't remember the last one. So the last of the species name is kind of long, but if you keep those names right, you'll be able to remember how to say it and how to pronounce it. But you know what? Yeah, maybe, yeah, that would make sense, right? EA. I don't know why you would say EA in my chat, but yeah, I guess you're right. That would make sense. Oh, so you want to know what the OBT experiment is? So you guys want to know what the OBT experiment is? Some of you guys know already. Some of you don't. So there's four of these guys. These are the Usambara. There's four. So what we're doing is over the course of, I was going to say a year, but we're probably going to go maybe longer, maybe 2 years, okay? So each one of these will be fed something specific. So this one here is, I named them all too, by the way, to make this easier. And I wanted to do it so that you guys could relate to them as we go through this over the course of, we'll update these guys once a month. So we'll do an OBT experiment update once a month. Not live, but we'll actually do a video. But I named them so that you guys could relate to them a little bit better, and maybe you could pick your favorite and cheer them on or whatever you want to do. But each one of them is going to be fed a specific feeder. So one's going to be fed dubia roaches, one's going to be fed worms, so mealworms, waxworms, butterworms, superworms as they grow, of course. One's going to be fed nothing but crickets, and the other one's going to be fed nothing but red runners. And it's just kind of an experiment on how they eat. If one feeder increases their growth versus the other one, again, we have to figure sex into all that. So if I have a male that's eating red runners and the other three are females, this one may grow quicker than the other ones. We have to take all that into consideration. But they're all going to have the same temperatures. They're going to be all in the same enclosures with the same substrate. Nothing's going to be different. Maybe just the decorations may change inside, but that's really it. So the names, because you guys are going to know what the names I'm sure are, right? So my female is named Chaos. So I kind of wanted to go with that same theme. So I named them Havoc, Bedlam, Mayhem, and Maelstrom. So they're all kind of chaotic things. So they're basically all synonyms of chaos. So we'll do videos later on. We'll introduce them, but right now I have to put the actual prey thing on hold because they're also still small, and they could be eating fruit flies, but they did eat a red runner and they did eat a micro cricket. So all four of them have fed twice since last Tuesday. So I want to get them all to the point where they molt one more time before I separate them into their prey specific. I just want to, because so many people say that you should vary their diet, and it's not good for them to eat one thing. And I've had spiders that will only eat one thing. That I've thrown roaches in there; they have nothing to do with them. You throw a cricket in there, right next to the roach, and they'll eat it. Why that is, I don't know. But I want to kind of prove that eating one thing is not detrimental to them. And maybe one thing that they only find in the wild for 3 or 4 years, one specific prey item that they're constantly eating, whether it's grubs or whatever that they find that's digging through the dirt or whatever. So I kind of wanted to do that in-house. And I have the little, here's my OBT book, orange of course. So I'm kind of taking notes, and it's just a way. I got to figure out how to put all the information into paper format, and then what I'd like to do after 2 years is submit it to the BTS and see if maybe I can get in one of those BTS journals. We'll see. I don't know, but that's kind of what I'm doing. So again, I hope you guys, follow along with that. I think it's gonna be kind of cool. I know some people are really excited about it. Well, if you're in the States, right, Paranormal? If you're in the States, then I mean, hopefully I'll have Pulker babies. So we'll have to work something out. What's up, Robbie? Yeah, The bottle works. I think if you have the room, this is the way I see this. If you have the room, and you could open up enclosure, and you could slide a bottle over top of them, and even if they run out, you're not so worried about them hiding underneath things, and that's probably the best way to do it. When you're in a situation like I am, where there's like 9,365,000 places to hide in here, doing it with the lid on, and with a um, not a lid on, but something over top of them to manipulate them to where you want them is much more safer for me. Um, but I have done the bottle method with some of the some of the bigger tarantulas. Strange. How's it strange, Robbie? Hey, cousin, how are you? Is it, what do we pronounce that? Cousin or cousin? Feral ferret. Yeah, when they darken, they'll darken quick. So, you'll see it pretty quickly. But yeah, you have to, when your classy gets settled a little bit, just kind of take the lid off and see if you can get a good macro lens, or a real close up, and just kind of look. Even like a magnifying lens, put it over top of there and look. You'll be able to see that heartbeat. It's pretty cool. Sometimes they'll move. They'll grow pretty quick. Was it 2 inches before the molt ABC, or was it 2 inches now? They get sometimes when certain species get to a certain size, they really grow quickly. So what you would call the juvenile stage, which you basically say in the 2 inch range, when they get to that 2 inch range, you may see a dramatic um, growth for the next 3 or 4 molts, where you might see half-inch growth at a time, or maybe a 1 inch growth at a time. Species that are very um, specific to that are Poecilotheria. Poecilotheria will go from inch and a half to 2 1/4 in a molt like that, and then molt 3 months later and be 3.5 inches, almost 4 inches. They gain a lot of size. Lasiodora, once they hit that inch and a half to 2 inch range, they pick up size pretty good. Even Nandu, um, they'll pick up size. But Brachypelma albulosum, Brachypelma vagans is another one. Schwarderi grows pretty slow, but they're not very big spiders anyway. Kallenbergi seems to be picked up size pretty quickly too. If you think about it, it's the Brachypelmas that don't have the red and black, the coloring on their legs. Um, if that's any indication for anybody of anything. It's funny, Kalia. Mine only threat posture is inside her den. I haven't said my nose is itchy. I haven't seen her really threat pose outside, but when she's outside, she's either sitting there drinking water, or she's pouncing on something. So, ooh, 1/4 inch or more. That's gonna take some time. I got um, I got small Homori. I think a couple of years ago, I gave it to Peyton from Peyton's Tarantulas, and then a very very small Albiceps that actually molted 3 times. And again, it was one that, I mean, I think I got it was a little over an eighth inch. I don't know if it was even quite 1/4 inch, and I think it only got to about 3/8 of an inch before I actually used it in an auction. I did an auction uh, for a couple spiders that were here to go along with. I think it was we did it for Christmas. That was to help on the tarantula community. We did some auctions. People donated some stuff, and then the money went for some families on the tarantula community that were having a hard time with Christmas, being able to buy their kids gifts and stuff like that because of separations or job losses or stuff like that. So we helped two families by doing that. So people donated some stuff, and we did an auction. And yeah, I was thinking to myself, this little tiny brachypelma, I'll probably be 60 before it's even shows its colors. So I figured I'd get rid of some of the small ones before. I don't mind the Asian ones and the African ones because they grow quite quickly. Even though these OBTs, to tell you just a little about them, the female these came from was actually my female, not the one here, but it was my one female I raised from. She was 3/4 inch when I got her. I raised her to an adult, and I sold her to someone that really wanted a female OBT. And then I sent the OBT to Allie and Jared at Pelp Friction, and they bred her. And these are the babies from her. So they were pulled. The sac was pulled on August 7th of 2018 as eggs with legs. So doing the math and trying to do the math in my head, by the time they were second instar would have been early November. Um, and these guys are still small. They're just under 3/4 of an inch. So they probably molted one more time before they were sent here. So I'm assuming these guys are still third instar, so they're not very big, but they will pick up some size in the next couple molts. They do molt quickly, and they will molt. They will grow some size. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. So that's a little bit of pre-information on them. So these are late 2018 babies. I was kind of surprised that these were actually still the same ones from the female that I sent, but yeah, they are. So it's kind of cool having babies of the mom that I raised. Yeah, some of them they do avoid the burrows. I don't know what it is about them. Sometimes they'll do that. My female Homori's in the burrow sometimes and out of the burrow sometimes. My Albiceps never dug. Um, my Albopilosums actually, when I put them in a different enclosure, deeper, they stop digging. It's like you put them in something deeper, they don't dig. You put them in something shallower, and they want to dig all over the place. I don't know. And my Bamie up there, she doesn't even move. When I got her months ago, she still hasn't eaten for me. I mean, like, if I go back in the records, I would say probably August, September is when I got her, and she hasn't eaten one time. She's not dark, but she had a big abdomen when I got her. Yeah, it is kind of interesting. It's just something I thought up. I don't even know what made me think it up, to be honest with you. But I wanted to do something different that I haven't seen before. And I mean, there's all kinds of papers that things that people have researched and done experiments with different things. And there's one on a Phaunopelma hensi male that they were conditioning to maneuver a maze based on stimulus and basically outside shocking. And it just kind of gives you an idea that maybe they can have some kind of memory when it comes to stimulus over the course of time. There was one with how I think these were done with the Phaunopelma chalcodes. There was a handful of females and a couple males on how they process what they eat and burn off, like we'll say calorie wise, basically. Um, with their motion, and they actually put them on something that would make them walk, almost like I guess they call it treadmill. And they found to a point where the spider could keep up to a certain point, and when they couldn't keep up, they would slow it down. And they kind of just had an idea of when to feed them, how to feed them. It's kind of an interesting paper to read, but there wasn't a lot of real scientific information. It was just what they did, and then there were a lot of numbers and stuff that if you aren't a biologist or scientist, you're not going to understand any of those numbers. I didn't understand any of them. But doing something that I can do at home like this, I thought that was kind of cool. There it is, the Biripes Samoray. Yeah. So the names were Simon, Igor and Roxy that they put together. That was the Selenocosmia species Peru. Biripes. It's an interesting genus name, Biripes. Yeah, you know, nutritional things. I know there's been some studies on, what makes up, mealworms and crickets and roaches, and how roaches are probably more beneficial because there's more nutritional factors in them. I just don't know what they are. And again, it'll be interesting to see the one that's eating worms if it actually, because they say they're fatty, right? So does something that we consider fatty translate to them, to spiders? Because they don't burn, energy like we do, of course. They burn it a different way by external heat. And the warmer it is, they process their stored energy quicker. So when it's warmer, that'll make them burrow or web, or the more they do that stuff, the more that they burn it. So I think that's why you see like all four of these slings have made burrows. Like this one here, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but yeah, you can somewhat see it. The burrows are right there. Now this one seems to be the one that's dug the deepest, and it's not really all that far, but none of them are web at all. None of them. So um, that was going to be something I wanted to do too with them, was to decrease the substrate level and just put decoration in and see how much they web versus ones that um, had deeper substrate. That'll be something I'll do in the future. When I breed this female here, that'll probably be something I look at in the future, as far as um, just how they act, as far as what you keep them in. They um, more webbing, of course, they're going to use when there's not as much dirt to dig in. But I think if you give OBTs enough dirt, they're going to dig, and there's not going to be as much webbing as the ones you see that don't have as much dirt in them. Yeah, you should. I mean, why not? We can kind of, compare notes and what's going on. I think when you have an idea like this, it gives purpose to what you do too. I mean, people just do this for fun, and but if you like to experiment, take notes, and try to get an idea of things that's not detrimental to the spiders at all. I mean, Marilyn Moore put OBTs together in a communal. Didn't work out very well, but I have seen one that did work out for a while. Of course, it's not going to work out forever, but if you think about OBTs, if you give them a huge amount of room, let's just say a 55-gallon aquarium, and you put four of them in there, and they make four separate burrows, as far as, going across there, they don't really have nowhere to go. They don't need to go anywhere. So as long as they don't cross each other's paths, they're not gonna kill each other, as long as they're fed. So I think you could do it with even more than that. I always wondered, what experiments have people done over the years? Has anybody tried, like with Nandu chromatus babies? Has anybody tried raising them together in an enclosure for a while? To 1 inch to 2 inch. What happens? It's just we as collectors, we don't want to see the morbid bad part. Where you have spiders together and then they start eating each other. No one wants to see that, but um, it could be interesting information. And of course, we can't have homes for all these spiders all the time. And so, maybe when and if my Nandu Colorado Velocis actually lays an egg sac, maybe that'll be something I think about in the future too. We'll see. I don't know. I'd like to do some things. I'm going to be 50 this year. I probably, I say, if I can make it to 60, still being able to do this, I'll be happy. So I'd like to do whatever I can here in the next couple of years. Yeah, I was never a fan of mealworms. I'm not a huge fan of feeding them to spiders unless you're feeding to a spider that has got a lot of webbing. Then they're great because you get really really good footage. And if you watched Fatal Fangs, some of my clips were basically fed. I think all of them except for one were fed worms, and they were all web tarantulas, like the Ephipopus murinus. You put it on her web, she comes out and just nails it. The one I fed the roaches was the Brachypelma albiceps, and I don't remember some of the clips that I didn't use, like the Chelobrachy species electric blue. That was a worm. My Ornithoctinae species Prison de Abuelas, that was a worm, but they have a lot of webbing. So the worm's got to struggle through the webbing, and by then the spider is either going to eat it or it's not going to eat it because it felt it. But for some of your terrestrials, quote unquote, like Brachypelma humori or Brachypelma albiceps, using worms, unless you put it right in front of them and they hit it right away, they're just not a lot of fun. It'll be interesting to see what we do with the P. marinus, because the one that's going to get the worms is the one that's got the burrow that's the deepest right now. So we're going to have to see. Again, it may not work out. It may not want to eat them, and I may have to give it something different. So it'll be something that I may have to switch from mealworms over to waxworms. I don't know. We'll see. And you always have hornworms and stuff as they get bigger. I wanted to keep it in that that kind of a feeding pattern, some type of worm for them. Even earthworms will work if you get them farm raised. You don't want to dig them up in your yard, but if you get them farm raised, you can actually just feed them earthworms too. A lot of them will eat them. Phonopelma simoni love them. Just so you guys know, they love redworms. They love night crawlers. Just let the worm put at the base of their burrow and let it go down inside there. They'll just tear them right apart. I know my large female that I had loved earthworms. Yeah, you could crush their heads. I was never a fan of that too, because then they don't move. If you crush them too much, they just lay there, and then the spider, there's no reaction. They either come out later on when you're not watching them to grab it, or they don't grab it at all because they don't know it's there. I've had a couple ones that I've crushed, small slings I've crushed and put in there, and they just didn't get them. But sometimes I think it's better just to cut them in pieces. You cut them, they'll still wiggle for a while. If you get them right at the base or the front of the burrow, they'll usually come out and get them. These 4 have been pretty good so far with the 2 feedings that I've done. There was no hesitation. As soon as the prey item went to the burrow entrance, they took it right away. The ones I'm having problems feeding is the new ones, the Pteronochelys marinus mycumis. They just don't want to eat. So they haven't yet. So, I mean, they could be in pre-molt. It's a very good possibility, but yeah, I think red runners are the best. I like red runners the best. I don't mind dubia because they're bigger to feed to adults, your large adult species, but you can always feed 2 or 3 of the large red runners instead of feeding 1 dubia. But they do say that dubia roaches may be, the most nutritional feeder that there is. I don't know. I mean, if they're eating carrots and oranges and my red runners are eating carrots and oranges, I don't know what the difference is. I really don't. Crickets suck. I know. I hate crickets too. So I'm glad. I mean, but I have some spiders here that will not eat anything other than them. I found that avicularia are more apt to eat crickets than they are anything else. They're not really great with worms. They will eat them. Some of them will eat them like crazy, but most of them, if you just put a cricket in your tongs and feed them, or even a lot of smaller avicularia, you can just put the cricket in your hand and just go there, and they're gonna grab it out of your hand. And so I do have some spiders that just refuse to eat anything different other than crickets. I don't know what it is. They'll stay alive for a little while. Depends on how hard you crush their head, though. But basically, crushing their heads, you're gonna end up killing them in the end. Yeah, I think that's normal, Robbie. That they said that a lot of your New World species, once they hit that 2-inch mark, they start to pick up on size. They may slow down on their amount of molts or how frequently they molt, but they do pick up a little bit more size when they do each one. Yeah, so I don't generally mind. It's funny because if I have crickets in a container that I went to the store and got, bring them home, and they chirp a little bit, that generally doesn't bother me. When I put them in an enclosure and the tarantula doesn't eat them, and then you can hear it chirping, or if one jumps out, because I constantly have that here, they get behind like a dresser and they chirp, and there's nothing you could do about it. And those are the ones that bother you the most. It's the one part about them I can't stand. I wish that we could feed. I wish we get locusts here, in the States, because I think that's it's a big size cricket basically, and you have more to hold on to I like watching the UK feeders feed those locusts because tong feeding those are really interesting. Like I said, there's just a little bit more of them to hold on to. Where we don't have anybody here that raises locusts, which are basically just grasshoppers. I've always wondered if I could just get a handful of grasshoppers outside and try to raise them, how hard that would be. But I have too much stuff going on in my life right now to worry about trying to raise grasshoppers too. Belforia are one of the worst eating spiders I've ever had in my life. I need to feed my female, but yeah, I don't know what it is about them. They'll eat for like 2 feedings in a row. They'll hammer food, and then the next 5 or 6 times you throw stuff in there, and they don't even budge. I would threat pose you if I was sitting on top of my molt and you were trying to take it out too. Yeah, there's a couple of them I do. I believe that too, Ian. They just seem like they're getting smaller. What are you talking about the auction thing that we did, Beginners Pro? Yeah, there were a handful of people that donated stuff, and then people just donated money instead of donating spiders and stuff like that. They just donated money to those. I can't remember how much we raised, but we had enough money to pretty much fund Christmas for 2 families. One was a single mom with I think 2 kids, and one was a grandmother with one granddaughter that she's raising. Um, it was enough money to get them a really nice Christmas dinner and some Christmas gifts underneath the Christmas tree. And I want to say it was like $300 or $400 a piece, maybe, is what we raised. So it was, um, we kind of try to do that stuff in that group when we can. Now they're doing the coalition thing right now, so all the auctions are going to that. But they did a adult female versicolor that went for $450. The H polka piece slings I got from Ray was $175. Try to think of what else was out there. There was another sling package, I think, and then Tom Patterson does these crazy ones where there'd be a bunch of stuff and he throws a bunch of freebies in there too. But I can't remember what all they gave away this time. But that the tarantula community, we try to help our members. I always say that we don't want to be that group itself, the admin team. We don't want to be crazy in charge of people. We want everybody to be a name and a face instead of just a number. So, being in touch with everybody as much as we possibly can and doing things like that, I think really makes people want to be there. I really enjoy it. I mean, there's been some touching things that have gone on in that group so far, and it'll be say the 19th, so in 3 days, on Friday, will be our 1 year anniversary there. Yeah, that's a good one, Edwin. I think I've heard that before about the Mario character. Yeah. You scare the damn cricket and then they go silent. You can't figure out which enclosure it's in or where they're at. That's all you're gonna find them anyway, and they only do it at night. I just got 65 micro crickets, so they're the ones that are like they're not the pinheads, but the next size up. Handful of days ago, and actually only 3 of them died. The rest of them were actually all fed off, except for like the 3 or 4 that jumped out and got away. But I had which one was it? Trying to remember which spider it was. There's one in a vial. I can't remember which one it was, but the cricket was in there. Oh, it was my Psalmopoeus ecclesiasticus. It's got some webbing going up, and the spider came up to get the cricket, and the cricket kind of jumped up to get away from it, and it just jumped straight up, and then the spider came up to the top of the 50-gram vial, and the spider or the cricket ended up back in the vial itself. I thought that was kind of funny. I wish I got that on film, but I have had some that jump out, and the spider actually climbs out on my table here twice. I don't like that. I don't want them coming out. They have a place they need to eat inside there. So sometimes I just close the lid and leave them. So I'll feed them and leave them. When I film, I try to have the lid off. But a lot of times, getting pictures through the side, like if we're feeding. There's my Sarcopelma Santa Catalina here. You can kind of film through the side sometimes, and actually get some of my best feeding clips are through the side of an enclosure instead of straight on, because you're getting more of a POV. That straight on part of the tarantula actually attacking. I think we did that with the Brachypelma albiceps that I used in Fatal Fangs. That was a pretty good clip, because then I take one, but then another roach came by and it took the second one, and then it came forward at you. That was probably one of the favorite clips I've ever done. That G. pulchra goes slow. My little one, I thought, should have molted like 6 months ago. It stopped eating, and then it started to eat, and then it stopped eating again, and now you could tell it's going to be close because it's gotten really lethargic. It's not moving around as much. It's kind of staying in the same spot all the time. You'll know. I mean, you'll know. They'll darken, like you said. You'll see the stuff that your eyes will tell you, and then stuff that as a keeper you just get more experience in, and you'll be able to tell their demeanor and the way they're moving. If you feed them and they don't want to feed, how they'll just turn away from the food a lot of times. That'll kind of be an indicator of, they're just trying to hide, and they really just want to molt. They just aren't ready yet. Hey, Christian, how are you? Yeah, everything's going well. Yeah, pulchras pick up bulk quick. Um, I'm really worried, the next molt for Norman, because Norman went through that bad molt last time where I had to surgically remove that molt from him. I didn't like doing that. So, and then he dropped his leg. So I'm just kind of curious on how it's going to go with him last time. If you guys don't know, my male Grammostola pulchra, when it flipped over the last time, I have pictures of it. When he flipped over the molt last time, you could see on his, let's see, it would have been his left, I think, third leg, so L3. When he was upside down, you could see along the leg it was cracked and it was open. So what happens is that the exoskeleton in the leg already starts to harden before the spider gets out, and he was stuck, literally stuck in that, and I really had to do a lot of cutting. He was really, really patient, and it was kind of interesting to do, but I had to use a couple different tools. I had, a small X-Acto knife and small tweezers and stuff to get that molt off him. But I knew, you knew by looking at him in the upside down position, there was going to be a problem. You don't ever want to see that. If you see your spider molting and you see a crack somewhere in the old exoskeleton, there's going to be problems. And I think that if you see a lot of your tarantulas that possibly are getting stuck in molts and dying in molts, that's probably an issue where, the old exoskeleton is opened up somewhere, and the new exoskeleton is getting air, and it's actually starting to harden before it gets out of the old exoskeleton. So I'm kind of worried about how he'll go through this next one. I mean, his leg is gone, so he'll regenerate, but I always worry when you have a tarantula that goes through a bad molt once that the next one's going to be even worse. I've had him for 4 years, I think, 4.5 years. I got him at about 1.5 inches size, so he's one of those ones that are kind of special to you, Yeah, Ichigo. It depends, It depends on what kind of slings too. I've had some Poecilotheria that won't burrow at all. Some of my Psalmopoeus really, really burrowed, and then some of them, I mean, they have light webbing. My Erminias don't seem to be webbing all that much. I mean, they don't have a ton of room where they're at. I like where they're at because they still have another molt in there, and they'll be fine. I mean, I've actually seen some people in those. They're 7-inch. Those ones up here. They're 7-inch by 4 by 4, I think, or 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. I've seen people actually breed avicularias in those. A full size 5-inch female stay in those, and they're perfectly fine. Yeah, they don't need. Everybody thinks that they need that height to climb. You put them in a large enclosure, they're going to go to the top part and they're going to stay there most of the time. So what's the difference between this little section of this big enclosure and an enclosure this big where they just sit in one spot anyway? So a lot of people breed that way. It's a lot easier for them to work with them that way. Um, the only one up here, I mean, I have two Armenia females, and then my Victoria. My Victoria will get a nice setup because she's just one of those ones that at the top of your favorite list. She'll have something nice. Um, but yeah, they don't need a ton of space. They don't need a huge enclosure. You could get away with something a little bit smaller than what people actually think. But and people like to have big enclosures because they need to move, which they really don't. Most of them don't. I mean, you used to have some species that do like to wander a little bit. Most of them are pretty sedentary. They don't move around very much. If they're being fed, they have water, they have cover. They don't need to really go anywhere. Oh, what do you mean there, beginners bro, that people worry about the death too much? I think. Are you responding to something I said or something somebody else said there? I'm kind of behind in my comments here, so yeah, I'll have to check it out. I think I'm already subscribed to you there, or I follow you, I guess, on Instagram. PSP. I don't call you PSP. That everybody else is, right? I prefer lats above dubia, but dubia have their place. I prefer to feed my larger dubia to my bigger brachypelma. One of my spiders that absolutely will not touch dubia is my Thai tiger, or Thai zebra. I guess that would be right. Thai zebra and Thai tiger. The Cereopagapus paganus von Worthy, whichever one of the two it is, will not touch a dubia. But if you put a dubia in there and you put a red runner next to it, it'll come out and get the red runner. I don't understand why. It's just, there's got to be something with the vibration that, size of prey makes a difference too, because they can feel how big something is on vibration. So maybe they're intimidated by the size of something like that, so they don't even want to try. But something's a little bit smaller, like I could take that. I'm sure there's a little bit of that's involved. I've noticed that with. I'll see you later, Ian. I've noticed that with some of the small slings that Balfouri is a huge one. If you raise Balfouri, always feed them something smaller than you think you should, because they do better with smaller than they do with something that you think they should be eating. That's an eerie arachnid tip. You can take that to the bank because it's 100% true. Why Balfouri are like that, I don't know, but it seems like if you think they should eat a medium cricket, give them a small cricket, and they'll take it. Medium cricket, they may not want it. And there's something about it. And I don't know what it is with Balfouri, but that's what I lived with for about 3.5 years with the ones I've had. Is with those smaller is better. When you go with like a Hapalopus species Columbia large, size doesn't really make a difference to them. And NSAIDs, you'd be surprised the size of a prey item that those NSAIDs will take down. It's kind of amazing. The Heterothele villicella or gabonensis from Africa, the George species from there, they take down huge prey. Where you may feed something to an OBT that's 3 inches, you think, oh, I could take that down, and it won't. And you put something just a little bit smaller in there, and it will. It's just kind of weird. My Chilensis so far will eat just about anything, but she seems to prefer crickets than anything else. Yeah, I think that's probably the problem, here, why we can't feed those, or we don't have access to them. We don't have anybody that breeds them here to buy them, the locusts. I just think they're cool because they're bigger. There's not a ton to them, but they're bigger than a cricket, and it's nice to see some of your bigger tarantulas take something like that down. It's more visible, and Makes for better filming, that's for sure. I mean, if you're just talking about filming, then absolutely the crickets or the locusts are much better. The super worms are much better. The hornworms are much better when you're talking about trying to film and get dramatic takedowns and good feeding clips, or fang action. Something a little bit bigger is better. But I do like listening to them crunch on those big dubias though. I've never done the hissers, so I don't have room for hissers. I have enough. I have enough stuff. I did try the orange heads for a little while, but I think I got a colony of like 25 or 30 of them, and they had a kind of distinct smell to them, so I fed them off. I didn't keep any of them. Yeah, you love the sound of crickets, Kay. I do outside, but I don't inside. You get too many of take about 20 of those males that are chirping at night, and while you're trying to sleep in your room, and you're not gonna like them. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm way behind in the comments. I can guarantee that right now. I'm seeing it's 6:49, and I'm reading comments that are at 6:35. So I try to answer everything that I can, or comment on all the different responses here as best as I possibly can. Yeah, Phil. I mean, things happen, right? I mean, people disagree. It's a matter of learning how to get by and kind of look the other way. I mean, I don't think you and I were ever going to agree, but I can respect that fact. That you have your way, I have my way, and that's how it is. Um, but the stuff that happened before, I don't really care about it anymore. It doesn't make any, it's not getting anybody anywhere. Yeah, I think that's cool too. When you have a parent that gets involved with their child in something like this. It's interesting to see Michael McClister is his involvement with Natalie and Winton's dad. You don't ever see Winton's dad, but Winton's dad is the one that his is the Facebook profile that he uses. I don't even know that Winton uses that. It's his dad that uses it, but um, he's always behind the camera, and his camera work is top notch. I can tell you that. Their editing is superb, and it's really cool to see people get involved. And I'm sure that when Wee Man gets a little bit bigger, that Adam will have him follow in those same footsteps that Dad is. Um, it'd actually be kind of cool if you had just family members that like to help you or get involved, which I don't have any. And my granddaughter she's kind of interested in them, but not to that point. She's going to be 5 this year, and she likes to look at them. The one that she thinks is hers. I always have to bring that one out when she comes over, but she doesn't really like me opening them up, so she's got a long way to go. It's just one of those things too, when you got to be around them a lot, and if you're not, they can still be intimidating. And her mom is definitely afraid of spiders, so she's going to have that innate to her because mom's at home scared of spiders, so that's going to translate to the children below. Um, you just it's hard to unteach fears. It's not easy to eliminate fears in somebody. Like I said, I'm terribly afraid of water because I almost drowned when I was a little kid. It was a very traumatic event, and it's not anything that I'll probably ever get over. I've been in boats and I've been in pools, but you'll never see me swim in a lake or in a pond or anything like that. I need to be able to see the bottom. If I can't, I'm not going in it. Trace, I'm gonna do a subscriber feeding video. So I plan on doing that like in April. So any of my subscribers, we'll do an announcement to a certain point, and then any of my subscribers want to submit feeding videos to me. through Messenger can do that, and I'll put them all together on and do a video, kind of like I did for the tarantula community one that I did. Um, it'd be kind of cool for the subscribers to, they may not have channels or even want to do channels, but I think it'll be kind of cool for them to, anybody wants to submit a clip here, and they can put it on Eerie Arachnids. Um, and again, it's something different, something I'm trying to do different things to correlate with subscribers and fans, whatever you want to call them. So that we're, again, I don't want people to think that I'm better than them, or I don't ever want star status. It's not me. I'm very introverted, believe it or not. I like to be off in the corner. I did this partially to get myself out there, to be less introverted. It really doesn't help. It helps here, but it doesn't help in real life, believe it or not. I still get intimidated with meeting new people or people that I talk to online, and they're like, oh, can we come over and check out your stuff? And I don't know. It's just not me. But yeah, so that's something I want to try and do. Again, that'll probably be done like sometime at the end of April. It's going to be a busy year for me this year. It's a lot of big things going on. The twins turn 18 in April. They graduate in June, and then they're off to college in spring or fall. Alex turns 21 this year in June. Then I turn 50 in July. So we have a lot of big milestone birthdays this year, and a lot of, graduation. Alex, he's in his junior year of college, so he's got one more year left already. It's hard to believe how quick time flies. Yeah, a lot of kids like the furry pets much better. You know what? I started this channel, I think it was November of 2016. And I signed up for YouTube, but I didn't really make any videos, I think, until February of 2017. But I watched a lot of, because back then there was only a handful of people that did it. There was one, I can't remember his name. He's out of the hobby now, but he did a lot of pairing videos and a lot of different species and a lot of rehousing videos. I can't think of his name. He had a foreign accent. I could picture his name on Facebook, but it's not coming to me because I haven't seen it in such a long time. Of course, John 3800. I watch a lot of his stuff because he was pretty popular, and Rob C was pretty popular. Even the DT Deadly Tarantula Girl in the beginning. I enjoyed watching her stuff. Greg Rice. His stuff is still really good. When he gets an opportunity to work his videos, he does some good stuff too. But I watch a lot of his stuff because it was just no nonsense. It was feeding videos, and I got to see and learn what certain species look like, and I could correlate their names together. That's how I learned. It's really how I learned scientific names, is watching those handful of channels and correlating those into doing searches online and then browsing all the online vendors. That's where I got basically all my scientific name knowledge, or binomial nomenclature. That's how I learned it all. So, watching more videos of people that, work that way. You'll still have there's still a lot of YouTubers that just, they just do feeding videos, and it's fun, and the scientific part doesn't mean anything to them, and they're entertaining, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, there's channels that I grew away from, and there's channels that I used to watch, and then I stopped watching, and I'm actually watching a little bit more now. But I'm trying to branch out, but it seems like all the new channels that I start subscribing to are all from the UK. We don't have as many. I don't know what it is about the US here. We don't get as many people doing them, or at least I don't. They're not showing up in like recommendations for me on YouTube. I keep getting the same 10 or 15 channel recommendations I'm already subscribed to, so I don't know why they keep recommending those same people. But yeah, I mean, I like doing. You do the videos like that, Mom, and like your last feeding video, or your transfer, not the feeding video, but the rehousing video, because of the mold, and the way that that she presents herself. You watch videos of channels like that, you know, watch Tom Moran and watch. I mean, you can watch Exotic Slayer and watch Dark Dan and watch Tarantula Cat for that, you know, that entertainment value. They're fun. They all have great, jovial, outgoing personalities, so it draws people into their channels for that reason. Um, and it's great, you know, that you have channels like that because you have to have the channel balance. I think on YouTube, if you have a bunch of entertainers, nobody doing any kind of scientific stuff or educational stuff, then people that go to YouTube that actually want to learn can't learn. But yeah, I just, you know, I enjoy what I do, and in there, in that coat. You're taking my car? Yeah, that should be in there. Yeah, they're in there. Yeah. Yeah. Later. Um, Eric's got to go run at the Dome at Edinburgh. So yeah, he runs cross country and track, and he's going to Edinburgh University on a scholarship next year to do all that. So it's a crazy year, but I kind of got off track there. But yeah, there's a ton of different channels, and I think finding yourself. Sometimes it takes a little while to find yourself, and I've seen some channels do some serious drastic changes over the course of the last year, and this last year and a half, we'll say last 18 months, there's been a plethora of new channels on YouTube. When I first started, again, there was John and there was Rob, and Rob was kind of just getting to the end of where he was getting out, and John was starting to slow down. Deadly Tarantula Girl, and I got to that point where I didn't want to watch her anymore. Greg Rice, and then Dave Scott, Marilyn Moore. Those are the ones that I watched. And then when I started doing it, there were a couple new channels that came along, but then, you know, Exotic Slayer started around the same time I did. But his editing and his jovial personality really boomed. I mean, he's got over 1 million subscribers now. But there's some channels that started out, you know, a year ago, 16 months ago, that started out one way, have completely changed into something different now. And I used to like what they did before, and I don't like what they do now. I'm not going to say anybody's names, but yeah, it's such a dramatic change. And when you find what you want to do and people like what you want to do, that's what you stay doing. I just never wanted to do stuff that everybody wanted to do. I wanted to do stuff that I wanted to do, and the people that liked watching me would come, and the people that didn't like then wouldn't watch it. So I don't want to change the way I do things. I'm really behind now. We're at 7 o'clock. I'm at 6:40 on the messages here. It's actually a really good turnout today. I'm really happy everybody's here. I appreciate everybody coming in, and you know, the amount of commenting is great. You know, you guys are, everyone's. I haven't had a problem in any of the live chats that I've had. I haven't really done anything controversial yet. I don't know that I will. I think I saved those for the podcast because then nobody can yell at me while I'm doing it. But we do have a handful of controversial topics I think that are going to come up in the podcast. But I like doing this because it's fun, you know, and I get to relate to you guys, and you guys can relate to me just as like I'm sitting next to you having a coffee. Well, actually a strawberry lemonade, but yeah, it's kind of cool. Um, Coos and Feral Ferret, that you can find somebody, you know, you can help out. I see Jennifer Gallings is, you know, her channel's kind of moved pretty well too. I don't know how long she's been around, but you know, there's a handful of channels. I'm Peter Webster's channel's really moved. Sam's channel really moved from Bug Realms. A lot of that was with the Fatal Fangs, but um, yeah, I just, like I said, I've seen so many channels change, and I think if you're into this for the numbers, if you want the numbers, and that's really important to you, then you have to do things a certain way. You have to edit. You have to be on camera. You have to be relatable. You have to be fun. You have to do feeding videos, expo videos, unboxing videos, all that stuff. You know, bringing new animals in for the beginning. And I think people get caught up in it, where, you know, you start out in the beginning, and it's like you get a little bit of attention, and the couple YouTube groups that are out there, the Ray's group and then the Tarantula Community Facebook group, YouTube group. You get a lot of support from people there, and you start seeing, okay, my numbers are starting to move, people are subscribing, my views are going up, and then, well, I need new things, and I think a couple people are really got caught up into that, where they seem to feel like they need to get new things all the time, and that if they're not getting something new every week, the people will stop watching them, and then you get to the point where it gets overindulging. And if you're getting stuff because of your channel, it's the wrong reason to get stuff. You have to get stuff because you want it, and you have wanted it, not because your subscribers are saying you should get this or you should get that. I don't think that anybody should feel like they have to get something because their subscribers are saying you should get this. I've seen that happen a few times, and then you stop seeing that specific thing on their channel from there on out, because it may not be something that they really ever wanted, and now they're dealing with something that they're not quite sure of. I've seen a lot of people step over their boundaries and get things a little bit too early. I'm not saying anybody can get anything at any time that they want, but there are certain people that stretch beyond their means and their capabilities and their fear, and then it shows, and it's kind of bad. And I've been seeing a handful of channels that are giving information that's not completely correct or correct at all. I've seen a big channel, not tarantula channel, it's a different channel, but this person has some tarantulas, just do some absolutely stupid stuff. And I think a lot of it's theatrics. It's just numbers. It's once you start getting numbers, you start getting paid. You want to keep getting paid, and I don't know. I've never really I don't even know what I'm talking about or why I'm talking about this, but I never really got into that part of it. With the number of teas that I own, how often do I come across a bad molt? Well, bad molts as far as they come out and there's things wrong with them, or they pass away in molts. You'd be surprised when you have a collection that's large, and people that have large collections that do videos or that are on the Facebook groups, a lot of them won't even say when they have spiders that die, but it happens. It happens more frequently than people believe, or they know. Of course, the larger your collection, the odds of that happening are a little bit higher. But I've had two in the last 6 months that were bad molts, and that was my Megaphoboma messamasalis, and then she ended up passing away, which we knew. I fought for months to try and keep her alive. Everything I possibly could to keep her alive, but her legs were all messed up. I was tongue feeding her. She would catch a cricket every now and then, but one day she just succumbed to her injuries, and she just lost the fight to live. And then of course Norman, who had that bad molt. But bad molts where again they've lost a limb, or my Ephobophus anathus, the molt before last, the one chelicerae got caught and it got stuck and it misformed. The fang was fine, but the chelicerae was all like swollen. It was really weird, but it seems like this molt that's all corrected itself. But so not as often as you would think with 130 some odd of them here, but we're in a slowdown period right now. That my moltings have gone down. There's not been a ton of them that molted over the last even month. Once spring comes, they'll all kick in the molt mold, and I'll start seeing 12 to 18 molts a week for a while. So we'll have to see what happens in the springtime. But I'm changing some of the methods that I use. Some tarantulas I didn't have water dishes in before, I do now, and there's still a lot of them that I don't. Most of my African species do not have water dishes, and it's easier for me to actually give them water on their webs than it is to constantly fight the webbed over dish that you have to pull out and disrupt the web, and I don't want to do that with my African species. So it's easier just to, when they web an area, you can pull that water in an area, and they'll come out. I've seen them come out and get water, but you think of how long in the wild they go without water. Like they don't actively seek it out. If it comes to them, they'll drink it. If it doesn't, they don't. So not as much as you would think. That's a good question, though. That was Jack, right? Jack that asked that question. Yeah, Christian, not. I mean, even though you have 99% of your species are old, well, it doesn't mean that you can't do, beginner videos with them, because you can educate people with those right off the bat, instead of coming up with the, there's a lot of video topics that do real well on YouTube. Top five lists do really well, whether it's top five beginner species, top five arboreal species, top five Asian species, top five old world species, new world species. Those videos do absolutely wonderful. But to this day, one of my best videos that I still get comments on like once every other week was my Brachypelma albopilosum video, where it was like a species specific guide. People enjoyed that video, and I didn't even think it was really all that great quality. So now I have someone that's asked me to do a specific Brachypelma care video, which includes Hamori smithi, um, Emilia, Bamey, those four. Um, so I'm trying to work on that because I have three Hamori. I have the little baby, real tiny smithi. I have the Bamey, and then we have what was the other one that I said? I can't remember now. But Hamori, smithi. Oh, Amelia. I do have the one Amelia. So trying to do some videos for people that request it. But I think that wouldn't be a bad idea, even if your channel is specifically all old world species. There's nothing wrong with that, and people can make their own judgment on whether they're ready or not. You don't have to specifically say, anybody can get anything that they want, or I would lean towards this old world species if you're a beginner versus another one. But doing the educational part of species specific or country specific or care for old world species on one channel, that would be absolutely fascinating to me, I think, instead of this broad stroke of what most of the channels do, where you just have tons of different types from old world and new world, and South American, North American, African, and some even have some of those Australian species. I wish, if I could go back in time right now, and I didn't have any of these, because then I wouldn't have any attachment to them. If I could start right now and do this all over again, I would strictly only have African species. I wouldn't have anything else. I mean, it would be hard for me to fight off the Chilobrachys, but I definitely would have, my collection would be 99% African species. One of these times you might do it, Phil. I mean, some people don't. Took me a little bit to get Andrew to get in front of the camera, but now I think his channel's much better. The reception for him is much better when he's on camera versus when he's not. So, I talked to a lot of people to get on camera. Shanti, I talked her into getting on camera. Andrew, I think there was a couple other ones that I encouraged Sam quite a bit in the beginning when he was struggling with the stuff with his brother. There were a couple other ones that I said, your voice is good, so get on camera, and I think people will relate to you. And I never wanted to do it. That was funny. I mean, I didn't do it till the tarantula tag video, and I didn't really do live videos until this last December. Never wanted to do it. I never trusted my internet to be able to support it, and lo and behold, we've had one time that just killed it, and one time I had to start over. But I enjoy doing the live ones, actually. Yeah, he's right. Christian Phillips right. You don't have to have experience. If you starting out as you're saying, hey, look, we're going to do this together. I'm going to learn as we go. I'm going to make mistakes because I still make them. And it's not like I'm an expert by a long stretch. I see stuff that people like Stuart Longhorn or Andrew Smith put on um, some of the Facebook groups, some of the things that they're putting on there, and you realize how little you actually know when they start putting some of their information on there. Andrew Smith just put a little bit of an information on the difference between Hamorai and Smithy, and trying to explain that, because people still think that what we have as Hamorai were actually Smithy, and Smithy are now all Hamorai, and that's not the way it went, because it was ingrained in everybody a year and a half ago. Because I did it, Tom did it, a couple of other of us did it. That this is what happened. Okay, Smithy is now Hamorai, and Anitha is now Smithy. The only true part of that is Anitha is now Smithy. But the Rio Balsas River in Acapulco, right? The southern part of that bank of the Rio Balsas River is where the Brachypelma Smithy and Anitha were actually from. And then the northern part was where the Brachypelma Hamorai were from. So somebody asked a question the other day and said, well, if we've had Smithy and Hamorai both in the hobby for however many years, since 1997, Hamorai was when it was first described. I'm not saying that we didn't already have them in the hobby, but that's when they were actually described. That were they hybridized in the hobby? And he said that the people in Mexico that are working with them do not believe that they can hybridize with each other, that they cannot crossbreed. So it's kind of interesting that people are thinking that we've been crossbreeding this whole time, and we really haven't been. So I think a lot of times when people have problems breeding Hamorai or Smithy, that's why. You may have one Smithy and one Hamorai, and they just won't breed. It's the same aspect if you guys understand Grammostola pulchra. There is a species from Uruguay, which is the Grammostola quigori, that they actually believe more of those are in the United States hobby than the actual pulchras. Pulchras are described with white-tipped hair, and not a lot of the pulchras that we see have white-tipped hair. So I think what's happening is you may get a pulchra and you get a quiorgi or quiorgi, and you try to put them together and they won't breed because they can't. So there's a lot of interesting things I think you're going to see in the next few years. I hope that I'm still in the hobby when some of this stuff comes out, but yeah, it's kind of interesting. And if you're not into the science part, you don't get stuff. You don't see the stuff. You don't understand the stuff, and you may not even really care. But it is kind of interesting when people are saying, I've been trying to breed my Grammostola pulchra for the last 6 months and I can't get them to pair. Well, there may be a reason. Aphonopelma chalcodes, Aphonopelma hensi, the males look exactly the same. And because Aphonopelma chalcodes females take a long time to mature, just because their size doesn't mean they're mature. So a cat's having problems trying to breed hers, so it's possible that her female's not mature, and that's why she's disinterested in the male. And without having a molt to confirm that, with sclerotization of the spermathecae, then you really can't say for sure if she's ready. You just kind of, some people just kind of try, and a lot of the breeders will say, if you're at the female's at 75% of her size, she could be ready. Andy from Andrew's Exotics sent me a little video of his species Hottie Hottie. I hope he doesn't care that I'm saying this, but she's about 3.5 inches, and she was drumming like crazy. Now they're roughly a 5-inch spider as adults, but she's drumming at 3.5 inches, which means that she's probably ready to breed. So he can try and find a male and put them together. It's just kind of knowing, again, the longer you do this, the more that you know. But Philip's right. Just start out and explain to people that, I'm starting this the same way you are. We're going to make mistakes as we go, and forgive me for the mistakes that I make, but we'll all learn together, and you'll be the old world guy. There's nothing wrong with that. Iharingi, 8 inches. That seems big. I think you can, though, Christian. You can make a beginner channel with facts about old world species. Doesn't mean that you have to endorse people getting them. That's the thing you have to get straight in your mind, is you don't have to go on and start a channel and say you need to get these, but you could just give information on them, on husbandry and temperament and growth rate, stuff like that, without endorsing people to start off with old world species. So I would consider that, Christian. I think that would be a way to maybe implement something, or if you want to start a channel, to start it out that way. Yeah, I'm with you there, Philip. I'm more than 5 minutes behind. It's 7:18 here, and I'm reading your last comment. This comment is at 6:48. I've been seeing Ray coming up on here, but I haven't even got to Ray's comments yet. So, like I said, I try to discuss everything I possibly can. I don't want to leave anybody out and make somebody think that I'm skipping them. That's one I need to think about. The Epacopus. That's one of those African species I got to kind of consider. Never really thought about it much. I don't have any of the Hysterocratides species, so um, I'm more of the dry. I like the dry, arid ones than some of those ones that live in more of a damp, moist atmosphere. I'll say atmosphere or environment, I guess we could say, right? Yeah, I think you're right. I think a lot of us are introverts, probably even more than 90%. And it's actually when you get on camera, it's easy to do this. Um, if I had to do this in front of a room of people, I wouldn't be able to do it like I'm doing this right now. I'd be stumbling over my words and sweating to death, and worried about am I saying things the right way, or people are taking it the right way. But what I like about this, what I like about live is that you can hear me talk and you can hear tone. Um, when when like the little chat that I just had, I'm more scientific, so you can hear that. Um, well, I'm not really changing tone much, but you understand what I see. When you type stuff, sometimes you read tone into things that isn't there. But when you do these, you can see the person that's on the other end of the camera, and you can read how interested they are, how um, well, their mood, their mannerisms, everything. You get to know people, I think, a little bit more. And I think since I started doing this, I haven't really increased a ton of subscribers, but these live videos seem to get watched more than some of my other videos do. Okay, Ray is commenting up here, and I still haven't got to his first comment yet. Rob C was he had a time when he was good at. Towards the end of his stuff, though, he got angry, and he's angry with people in the hobby, and it showed in some of his videos. But I think he was a genuine guy. That's what I liked about him, is that his enthusiasm was always there. Same as John. His enthusiasm never wavered. It's just a way that time has its way of messing with people. Where you can't do things as much. And John's pretty much strictly feeding videos now, and nothing else. Where I used to like his informational videos where he did his chalkboard or his whiteboard there. He wrote everything down. I kind of liked doing that. I learned a lot of stuff that way. Yeah, it seems like there's a lot more UK. Yeah, Euler's used to be good too. I enjoyed some of his stuff, but he had some kind of issue too, and he decided to stop. And it had something to do with, I want to say, I might be wrong, but I want to say it had something to do with comments that he was getting, and he decided it wasn't worth it because he was doing it um, in college, right? He was in college when he was doing all that stuff. So, I mean, he may be done with college now and out in the real world. He doesn't have time to do that stuff anymore. His name was brought up just the other day, Christian. I can't remember who brought it up, but I did watch some of his stuff. He had some interesting, do-it-yourself videos. I think he had a couple, and then enclosure types and stuff like that, which were really really interesting. How you doing, tropicalful? I mean, it must be in California, I'm assuming. No, you're not late. I'll be on for a little while yet. When I get on this, I actually don't want to get off. It's actually, it's very interesting. Sometimes I get kicked off because of the internet, but everything seems to be smooth running right now. I'll take all the subs that people want to give me. You can have 10 accounts if you want. I think we just hit like 2114, I think. But I was stagnant for a little while, and then we hit 2100 in this last 14, if like come in the last 2 days. If you guys aren't, here's something real quick. If you guys aren't subscribe to Invertibarian, go subscribe to him. He's like 7 subscribers away from 1,000. Um, he's just a wonderful guy. Just you'll love him. You'll love his son. You'll love his videos. He doesn't have a lot of tarantula stuff. He has a lot of other inverts, some really cool spiders that you don't see anywhere else. He's got an ogre face spider. That's a lot of fun watching that one. Does a lot of stuff with false widows, and he's got some mantids and some other stuff. Just a lot of fun. Just a real cool guy. So Invertibarian, go check him out. Peter gives gifts all over. He's I wished I had his money. I want to know where he gets his money from. He sends gifts all over the place. He's constantly getting. I told him before. I was like, man, you have so many boxes coming in a week. Where do you put them all? I mean, he built his shed outside his, whatever he called it, the Peter Webster and Vertivarium or whatever it is. So I'd like to check it out, but I wished I lived over there. He can send me a couple gifts. That'd be kind of cool. I mean, I can't complain really. I've had some people send me some gifts. Someone sent me this pocket microscope. Shanti had one I was talking about. I'd like to get one, and someone said, "Hey, I'll pick one up." I guess they got off the Wish app or something. I don't know. Yeah, so that could send to me. Of course, I've had Shanti's pictures back there that I won, and the thing from Sam, the little poster that he did, and still have the little drawing that Jay Adams' son did for me when I sent the Lasiodora paribonus. And he had his youngest son, I think, had a Lasiodora paribonus. It molted out as a mature male. And I had just got 100 little babies in, and I told him, I was like, hey, can I send him some, to make up for him, and then he can raise them. And he was, he's really into Batman and stuff like that. So I kind of named them, but I think he renamed them. I think we had like Harley Quinn, and we had the Dark Knight, which Difficillus. I sent him one Difficillus, and the other ones were paribonus. And I just thought it was, I just wanted to do something nice for him. Jay's a good guy, and he sent me some scorpions, which none of them made it, but it was kind of fun watching his son, on film when he got them and he was looking at them. That made my day more than probably made his day. But yeah, so I mean, people sent me stuff, but I've had gifts from Amy and Quentin and Byron and Jody. Those guys all got me spiders, and then my friend Pam, and then Ruth is giving me stuff. I can't really say anything. Yeah, some people like unboxings. I honestly hate doing them. I hate doing them on camera, and there's reasons. I'm always afraid that I'm going to be doing a unboxing video, and then I'll be like halfway through the video, and I'll unbox a spider and it'll be dead, and then you know where it's coming from, and you'll be like, oh man, I've felt bad. So you can edit it out, I suppose, but I don't really like doing unboxing videos. Yeah, he's definitely, well, he's the UK Santa over there, that's for sure. Yeah, Peter seems like a really nice guy. I've chatted with him a few times. We had a small disagreement on something, but there was water under the bridge. I think there was a big misunderstanding on some things that people believed that I said that I didn't say, and it kind of got blown way out of proportion, and then I kind of got a bad rap for it when it wasn't any of my doing. Okay, Ray, I'm eventually going to get to your comments here. What is the difference between a Vicularia vicularia and a Vicularia metallica? Well, there's Vicularia vicularia has the reddish on the abdomen. The Vicularia metallica generally doesn't have the reddish on the abdomen as they get older, and a Vicularia would be a Vicularia vicularia morph type 6 would be your metallica. That's what they actually are. Their legs are fuzzier, and there's a lot of white, the white tip of their setae. So if you look at their back legs, there's quite a bit, and then their abdomen hair, we call it grizzled. So it's kind of like, it starts out short and then it gets longer. So that's kind of the difference. But generally it's easier to tell with, the red and then the white tip setae, and the amount of it on the legs is kind of an indication of what we used to know as the metallicas. What causes a bad mold? Well, there can be a handful of things. One could be not enough internal hydration. If they don't have enough internal hydration, their hydraulics, they need the hydraulics basically. Think of them as a hydraulic machine. If you don't put the fluid in the hydraulic machine, it doesn't work, right? So if they don't have enough internal hydration, which sometimes you can't help, they can't get out of their molt. They don't have the strength to push out of it. Sometimes their exoskeleton starts to harden as they're molting quicker than it should, which is, I think, the chitin or chitin. I don't know how it's pronounced, chitin, which would actually start to harden prior to. So if it starts to harden when they're still trying to get out, they can't get out. They get stuck because the chitin wool or chitin wool, like in their legs, will start to harden, and it'll harden on the molt that's already their old exoskeleton. Um, it could be other things like just stress or just weak internal issues, things that you don't see. If they don't, you have to look at one of your molts sometime and look in the carapace area of the mold, not the top part, but the bottom, the ventral part of them. You'll see that little tube that comes out from where the mouth part is. If you don't see that tube in your molt, there's an issue, because that means they didn't molt their sucking stomach, and that could be problems. I think a lot of tarantulas that die, like maybe within a week after they molt, I think that's more of an issue, stuff that's internally wrong with them. Things didn't form or something tore inside, because it's very traumatic, and there's a lot of exertion on the animal trying to get out of that molt. So there could be a handful of things internally that cause bad molts. But generally, it's hydration. Really, it's just not enough internal hydration. But I've had spiders that don't get water dishes at all, and they just get sprayed every now and then, that have molted fine. And then I've had tarantulas that have had a water dish in there consistently with water, and they get stuck. So you just don't know. There's so much that we don't know about the process of molting and what causes the problems that they have. But some of them need to have that external humidity, because they will, they have an open circulatory system, so they can, through the book lungs, they can transfer some of that moisture into their open circulatory system. Some of them actually, if you keep them too warm, they'll have problems. If you like Megaphoboma misamisalis or robustum, they need to be a little cooler, so that could cause molting problems if they keep them too hot. Poecilotheria, species Highland or Subfusca Highland, whatever you want to call them, they need to be cooler. They like to be cooler. I have much more activity out of my female in winter months when it's cold than I do in the summer months. So like I said, it's just kind of getting to know. And a lot of times you just don't know what causes some of the molting problems that they have. Oh, I'm finally getting the raised comments here. My Amelia's 2 inches. I don't know if it's a male or female. My last one was a male. I sent it to Dustin. He wanted to have a male set and ready. Well, not ready, because he's not nowhere near ready. He was about 3 inches. So he's got another couple molts before he'll mature, but he wanted to have a male on hand because he's got a couple females. So I sent him to Dustin. This one I'm keeping because the Amelia is my favorite brachypelma. I'm hoping this one's a female. If not, I will be actively searching for one just so I can have a female. I like hearing that that you're having so much fun you don't want to go to sleep and continue listening. So I could talk about stuff like this all day, and if you guys have questions that you want to, if you guys want to send me messages on Facebook too, on Messenger or whatever, you can. If you have specific questions, or email me at eeriearachnids@gmail.com too. I'll try my best to answer anything. So if you get to the point where I can't stay awake anymore, and you have some questions, feel free to send them along. But that is kind of cool if people don't want to turn it off because they're having so much fun, or they're learning, or whatever it may be. Yeah, it is, Ray. I think it's more fun now. I finally got to your comment that you made at 7, 12, 20 minutes ago. It is more fun. I was really, I was worried about doing them. Because again, I don't have the big rooms other people do. I'm kind of limited, so I'm stuck here in a little corner. But that's kind of why I was worried about doing them before. I just didn't feel that people would feel like, where is he at? Why doesn't he go someplace else in the house or whatever that's got more room? But I, I was not worried about information or talking to people or anything like that. It was more, internet too. I was always worried about that. But I don't get stressed. I mean, the first time I was a little worried. I think I only got like 6 or 8 people in it, and then each one progressively we've gotten a little bit more. I think 12 to 14, 15 people has been average for the last couple ones. But I think when I started doing the podcast too, that's kind of helped. People are a little bit more comfortable, and I'm out there a little bit more. I mean, this last podcast that I did, generally it takes about a week for me to get to 30 listens, and this one I think is almost at 40 listens already, and it's only been a few days. So the podcasts are starting to get a little bit more popular, which I'm really enjoying. So now we'll start hitting some good topics that'll really pique some people's interests, and I plan on doing one that's kind of like a theory podcast where I'll kind of ask a question, and it'll be kind of like an interaction think where, hey, what do you think about this scenario? Do you think this is a possibility? And get people to think about things like here's one that I'll lay on you now. African species. Let's take the Pteronachilus marinus. So every creature has time cycles. So let's say that you just have a hatchling or a group of babies that hatch out in Africa, these little OBTs. They dig their little holes and they're comfortable. They're getting prey every now and then. And then they get the rainy season. It rains and it gets damp, and it's damp below them. They come up and out and they live a little bit higher. Why do you think that they possibly do that? Do you think it's because the moisture in the ground and they don't like that, and it's a humidity thing? Or do you think that there's things below the ground that are now coming up because of the water, and they may be predators of these little guys? So they go and find someplace that's a little bit more safe from maybe grubs or frogs that have been in the ground for a while that come up. It's just interesting things that I think about that I think will make people think and be like, hey, you know what, that it sounds stupid as hell, or it sounds pretty spot on. I have a bunch of them. I think there's like 15 or 20 of them that I have so far. They're just interesting little topics to think about. I'm kind of actually, to be honest with you, Philip, I was kind of surprised that you came in, but I'm glad you did. Like I said, I mean, we can agree to disagree on things, but doesn't mean that we can't talk, right? Oh, the Brachypelma smithi and more. I know it drives me crazy, Ray. Hey, Creatures Corner, how are you? Yeah, you'll get to a point where you dread that first one, and then when you get that first one, you want the second, and you want the 10th, and then you want the 20th, and before you know it, you have this. Again, this is something that I would advise. Again, it's hard to specialize in the beginning because you don't know what you like and what you want. But if you could find a niche really, really quickly, so that you don't run into this problem where you have, there's some awesome tarantulas here. The Bumba cabocla, my Plesiopelma species, Bolivia, Lasiodorides polycuspalaeus, things that not a lot of people have that you grow attached to, that you enjoy, but probably I would never get if I found that niche early. These are animals I probably never would have got. The ones that definitely I probably would have got was the Acanthoscurria geniculata. I just absolutely adore the color patterning on those. I don't think that I ever would have got any of the Poecilotheria, to be honest with you. I really would have been stuck in the African stuff and then a handful of New World things. The genus that I'm really, really in love with now, New World stuff, is Sericopelma. That's kind of my new. I wanted to work with Nandus, but I kind of gave up on that. I think I'm just going to go with my my Sericopelmas. They're a lot of fun, really, really cool. Yeah, it is kind of cool that these creatures exist. Now, what I'd like to see, actually, I'll just say this. I mean, there's a handful of people that are YouTube creators here, and I found that, and this, I don't know, this may sound kind of crazy, but there's been a lot of UK channels that have been doing collab videos, and I've sent a handful in. Francis skipped my video. For some odd reason he forgot to put it in. And if you guys watch my Valentine's Day video, I only got four people to send, and then I forgot to put Carolina's video in. I saved hers for last because it was the longest, and I forgot to put it in. I felt terrible about it. So I'll throw her video into the next video I do, just because she spent the time to make it for me. But I found that you're seeing all these, the UK members are so close. They always do stuff for each other. They're doing collab videos together. They're sending each other gifts. The unboxings. They're meeting up with each other at the expos. Granted, they're a lot closer to each other than we are. But I asked for, I go on. I'm like, hey, I want to do this video with some collabs, and I get 3 people to answer me. And then below that, you'll get 6 people that say, hey, I want to do this collab, and there'll be 10 people that answer them. And I was like, but what am I doing wrong? Is it because I'm from the United States, or what is it? So I have to ask all my UK friends, what the heck's going on over there? I was kind of a little upset. I mean, we did the Christmas one. I got some good response for that. But when I did the Valentine's Day one, I think I had I even talked Silky into doing it. And I only got 3 people other than him to respond. I had 5 people that said they would do it, 5 or 6 people that said they would do it, and then nothing. I was actually kind of let down on that. I think we all should start doing a little bit more collabs with each other and work together a little bit more. Even if it's just doing a feeding collab, or there's been a lot of informational ones, like what got you into the hobby, what's the most overrated, or what's the most underrated invert, like that's what Francis did or Sidex did. Upcoming species, I like to do that. Something that's going to be an upcoming tarantula that I think a lot of people are going to be interested in, something like that. But it's trying to get everybody together and doing it. But you don't mind I'm saying your name, right, Beginner's Bro? I hope you didn't. I just kind of thought easier for me to say just one word or your name than it is to say to your channel. If you don't want me to say it, I won't. Same thing with you, Jeepers Creepers Ray. I think this is on time. I'm just way behind on comments. Right now, at this point in time, it's 7:41, and I'm reading Philip's comment at 7:18, and Jeepers Creepers at 7:19. Sorry, about the lives being delayed. How you doing, Eli? Again, at 7:19. Sorry that I didn't catch you quicker. I love fossorials. I do. Yeah, there's many of them. I mean, if I could only keep one Asian species or Asian genus, it would be Chilobrachys, because you get a little bit of both with those. You'll get some fossorial ones, and you get some that do a lot of webbing too. And that's the thing I like about them, is the amount of webbing that they do. The Fimbriatus, just I mean, can you see? I mean, I don't know if you can. I think I brought her down the other day when we did the last live. Oh, there's Davus Penomoris is out. This is a Chilobrachys. I mean, you see the amount of dirt that she has, and she's not dug one bit. She's just completely webbed everything over, and you can see her. You can see her right there, sitting on top. This is what I like about Chilobrachys. You don't know what you're going to get. A lot of times, my Cancreshawn is out. burrowed all the time, all the time. I don't see it. And then the new ones are burrowed right now, but we'll see how they go. The Huahini also did a lot of webbing, but he also had a lot of tunnels that he lived in below. This one generally dug, but since I put her in this, she hasn't. Like I gave her more horizontal space, and she just webbed the crap out of it and said, "I'm just going to sit up here and look pretty." So yeah, I do. I mean, to answer your question, yeah, I do. I do like foss soil, and it kind of depends on what foss soil. Now, I'm not a fan of like the king baboon because I don't like ones that never ever come up. My Cereopagabus lividus has been coming up every night now, so I get to see her a little bit. She needs the molt because she's really dull. And the Cereopagapus paganus slash von Worthy, she's coming out all the time too at night. So I mean, it's having the enclosures in some places you can see them sometimes too. But yeah, foss soils I really enjoy them. All my African foss soils I love them. I am. I'm way behind the comments. It's so hard, because I start to talk about things and everyone starts to, comment more. I mean, there's 13 or 14 or 15 of you guys commenting, and there's me trying to talk and get to the comments at the same time. But yeah, Ray, Cat tried to talk me into going to St. Louis for this thing, and I can't sit in a car that long, or even, I mean, I know Peyton's going in a train. She's like, go just go with Peyton on the train, and it's not that I don't want to meet people, but I don't want to meet people. I mean, that sounds kind of weird, right? Um, I don't want to form opinions of people. I have opinions of people, because I don't know them, I've not seen them. I don't want those opinions to change, and I don't want people's opinions of me to change if they met me in person. That's that introverted kind of character flaw, I guess you could say. That when you're in person with people, that's real. They know you now. They everything about you, how tall you are, your flaws, what you look like, your weight, all that stuff. They know all that stuff about you. Where when you're online, people don't really know. They just know what you type, and that's it. So yeah, I'm not. They wanted me to go to Tinley. It's just not me. I can't deal with crowds like that. I just can't do it. I know you're going to St. Louis, right? You're not going to Tinley though, right? Or are you gonna go to both? Yeah, I love Chelobrachys, Philip. I just think they're great. Like we have the Fimbriatus, we have the Huahini, we have the Wanzianensis. I got to pronounce that right. The Discalus, the Cancrochon. I think I have 6 total, 7 total, but 2 Huahinis. You guys have to do me a favor because Xena, um, Spider Woman, said they were having a problem on somebody else's chat where they were subbing to somebody, and then the subs went away later on. That they had to go back and resub out of the chat. I'm kind of curious if that happens to you guys. Yeah, I like meeting new people, and it's been fun here. Like I said, 'cause you get some new people in every time I do this. There's new people that come in, and just being able to talk. And again, I think I don't know how I come across in the videos. To be honest with you, I don't know if I come across in the videos the same way I am here live or what. But it's actually more comfortable. This is more comfortable. It's less strenuous for me to sit here and talk because I can just talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. And it's not like I'm reading anything or looking anything up. So everything that you're hearing is just stuff that's in my head. But um, yeah, I enjoy this. People say I'm doing it too often though, but I don't think so. You know, they're like, oh, your videos have gone down and you're doing all these live things now, but Ephobopus is one of my favorite genus too. I enjoy them. I have all four that you have in the hobby, but my Cyanonathus, I think is a male, so we have to kind of get another one just in case. My Moranus is a female, and I have two Rufusins, so I think I don't know what they are, either one of them, because I don't get good molts out of them, and I don't get ventral pictures of them at all. Um, so I really couldn't tell you. And the Udaman is still kind of small. It's starting to rain here, Ray, so we're in our freezing rain overnight. We were kind of warned about it. Thought we were going to get snow, but the snow kind of bypassed us, and we're just going to get this crappy rain now. And my wife's going to be worried because both the kids have the cars and they're out, and they don't have really much winter driving experience, so she's probably in there pins and needles right now. Haley should be leaving. I think Haley probably already left, and Eric's already gone. Yeah, I think Adam should have been over 1K long before. It's kind of weird how some channels that you think should have way more subscribers than they do, and then some channels that have a bunch of subscribers that you kind of scratch your head and you're like, I just don't get it. Um, I mean, it only takes one mention from one big channel for people to go rushing from their channel over to that person, especially if they're really endorsed by that person. But um, some people, I mean, I've fought and scratched and bled for every 2,000 subscribers that I have, but um, yeah, I don't understand how Adam hasn't had over 1,000. And it took Andy a long time to get over 1,000 too, and that was very distressful. And then I see some people that just like blew right past him and me. Um, I mean, one of the guys that had like 500 subscribers, and the next thing you know, he's at 2,000 subscribers, and you're just like, "Holy crap! What happened here?" But again, it was just just a fluke, something simple as being mentioned by one of the big channels, and boom, they just took right off. Yeah, I like Adam's got some cool stuff. That's what I like about him. You don't know what you're going to see in the video. Um, it could be anything. You could see spiders, tarantulas, beetles, manids, stick insects, scorpions. You just I don't know if he's got snails, but again, you just don't know. I don't. He's got centipede too, or two, doesn't he? You just don't know what you're going to get. That's what I like about him. But what I like about Adam the most is, as being a father, the way that he interacts with his son, and you can just see the amount of pride and love that he has for that little guy. That just exudes from his videos, and that it's very admirable. So it kind of draws you in. And he's such an outgoing character too. He's got no problem being in front of the camera and being funny and being weird and all. So that's kind of nice to see that. I need to move the UK just for a week so that I can get one of these Peter Webster specials. Which beetles, Phil? The feigning beetles or the assassin bugs? I don't know how you highlight who you're talking to. Um, I'm just scrolling, and you're probably looking at my forehead most of the time now because I'm down here scrolling. But I guess I could bring the phone up here so you can. I don't know what's the difference, right? Yeah, well, you have a good night, Mom, and tell Sophie that I said hi. Tell her I'll start working on those questions tomorrow. Oh, I can't tomorrow. I'm sorry. I got to work over, and then I got a union meeting. Okay, so Friday. Start working on them Friday. I'll at least get you the first three by the end of the weekend, so you have something to work with. I didn't do very much editing either, Susan. I wanted everything to be real. So what I saw, you guys saw, and I think that was part of what held me back a long time ago. Is that people are saying there's too much fluff in the video, where you do a clip of feeding and the takedown is great, but 5 minutes prior to that is was just a bunch of nothing. And then I have people that say that we enjoy that because that 5 minutes you're actually informing us about the spider, where it comes from, or whatever it may be. So it's kind of like lost on what I can do. And then I got into that. I'm gonna do a handful of feeding videos with just quick takedowns and music. And I had some people that just absolutely loved it and said you should just continue to do more because these, the clips are so well done, and the music, really plays into the clips themselves. But then I've had people complain and say, where's the old eerie arachnids at? We want the old stuff back. So it's kind of hard to please everybody. But I this when I got the new phone, that changed a lot of things because the same app that I had on that phone that you guys are seeing me on couldn't do some of the things that it does on this phone. So it just changed everything on what I could do, and the editing, and the duplicating of videos and slowing them down to have time lapse, or speed them up. I did one video clip where I sped it up really fast. It was kind of fun. I didn't never put it on YouTube, but it was kind of funny watching the spider move at like lightning speed when it's actually going very, very slowly in the original part of the video. Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Now you guys are talking about highlight stuff. I can catch up a little bit now. Yeah, Ray, if this one better be a female, my Amelia, because I don't want to have to. I mean, as a male, they still last a long time, but I really really want to have a female of that. That would give me, the Homori female, the Elbiceps female, the Elbopilosum female. Um, I think my Shorderi is a male, and my Kallenbergi I think is a male, and I have the Vagans female as well. So I mean, I'm trying to like to get as many of the Brachypelma females as I can, but I don't want to go crazy with them because I think I like the Cercopelma genus a little bit more than I do the Brachypelma genus, but there aren't as many of the Cercopelmas that are out there in the hobby. I think there's only like 6 or 7. How long have I been into spiders? Okay, so the twins were 3, so 14 years ago was when I got my first one. I had that one for 10 years. Um, so the amount of what you see here and the actual researching and stuff that I've done and what I've learned has been over the course of the last 4.5, 5 years. And Tropicalpal, I did a lot of research, and just not independently research. It was talking to a ton of people. I've had conversations with Andrew Smith and Stuart Longhorn, and arachnologists, people that are out there in the field, and then people that are in the hobby that have been doing it a long time that are very knowledgeable. I just knocked on their ears and said, "Hey, could you help me here? I want to learn this, or this." Some people help me a lot with ventral sexing and what to look for and what not to look for. Still miss one every now and then, but I've gotten, I think, pretty damn good at doing ventral sexing. It's just a matter of what you put into it. It's anything else. The amount of what you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. And some people, it's just a hobby, and they want it just to be a hobby, and that's great. I just want to take it that step further and be able to help people too. So being an admin of the Tarantula Keepers, there were 27,000 people in that group. I learned a lot there, not just by being an admin, but the members there. Um, and then other groups that I mean, some of them I've left, but like Tarantula Gossip, you learn some things there, and Tarantula Owners Worldwide is where I started. Um, I started on Tarantula Keepers. That was the first group I got into, and then Tarantula Owners Worldwide was the first group that I was a moderator of, and that's back when there was only 11,000 members there, if that. I don't even know if there was that many. And again, you learn people, and when you learn people, you learn who to go to get information. So um, I think that was a big thing, is being an admin of a couple groups. You get to see things that other people don't see, and then you have your admin chats where you can bounce information off people and get some information from people. And the Tarantula community group, we're seeing more people like Andrew Smith and Stuart Longhorn coming in and lending their ear and some of their information. I think that's admirable, that to the group, that people like them are actually coming in and saying, hey, this is what's really going on, or let me try and correct that for you, or did you think of this? I mean, there's been things that I posted I thought were right, and Stuart has come on and say, I don't agree with you, and this is why. And I'm like, okay, I understand. I get it. So I mean, I'm still learning to this day. But see you later, Christian, if you're not already gone. I did a small communal with Gabonensis. I haven't seen them for sale. I don't know if Pulp Friction has them. The problem with the Gabonensis and the Villicella that you see for sale are always like really, really tiny, and they are very dainty slings, so they're real streamlined and thin. So a half inch one of those looks like, I don't even know what you could call it, just like a line. That's what they look like. They're very, very small and hard to pay attention to. Um, you put them in a thing, and you just don't see them. I'm having that issue right now with my new Orphanaceous Philippinus, the one that Byron got for me. It's very long and streamlined. It's not digging, it's not eating, so I'm worried, because every other sling that I got in, except for the Mykumis, have eaten, and that one's kind of bugging me that it isn't. And when people send you a gift, that kind of worries you. But I have not seen Gabonensis for sale for a while. I have seen Villicella, and I think Villicella are better in a communal than Gabonensis are. So if you don't have Villicella, maybe think about those before the Gabonensis. Gabonensis also can be set up um, both ways. Think of them as like, think of a broken or cut down tree where the stump is above the ground, maybe a foot or 2 feet above the ground, and you'll find Gabonensis all over in different myriads or different heights. There's a video on YouTube about them actually in situ or in their environment. I love that video. It was very informative and kind of showed you where they all are. But they're beautiful spiders, absolutely wonderful looking spiders. How you doing, Mimo? Yeah, I think once this pulcher, hopefully sac is good and we get babies. Of course, I'm not going to put all those in my app, but there are quite a few of these guys here that I do need to move out. There's things that I think other people would be more beneficial for them to have them, because of my interests. Like I said, my interests have changed, but um, I am going to my female Ornithoptene species prison de abuelas. I think she's in pre-molt, so once she molts and she recovers, I think she's going to go to the Tarantula Coalition for a auction. She's a $350, $400 spider, so I thought it would kind of nice because I can't do a lot of other things for them financially wise, but I do have two of them, and they're both females. I have a smaller one, so I thought this would be, she would be a good spider to put on for auction. So she'll go up maybe in another couple months. And like my Lasiodora pair, I bought a female, and um, my Ceropogibus lividus and Ceropogibus hyaeneus, my Ceropogibus paganus slash Von Worthy. These are tarantulas that I would be more than willing to probably move out just to create room for these, these African species as they get a little bit bigger. I'll see you later, Phil. Yeah, again, anybody that is in here that has a YouTube channel that you want me to subscribe to, if you could send me the link either as a message here on YouTube or um, send me at eeriearachnids@gmail.com or on Instagram, anywhere you could send me the link to your channel. Do that, and then when I sign into my channel, then I can link that in, because I do have my regular account that I started with just my name on YouTube. I don't generally use it, but sometimes I'll subscribe to people through both just to help them out. No, she needs 10. Right? She needs 10. Tracy needs 10. It doesn't take long for them to go from 5 to 20 and then 20 to 60. It's not very difficult when people realize how easy they are to take care of. And it justifies having a roach colony too. You need to have a good 25 to 30 of them to justify having a roach colony. Then you can make your own feeders, and 138 is a little bit extreme. I don't think it's extreme. It's extreme for my space. I mean, if I had more space, these wouldn't be nothing. If this room here wasn't my bedroom and it was just a spider room, then I'd probably have about 500 of them. He didn't put your video in either. Yeah, I wonder what he did. I mean, he said he flat out missed mine. Mine was funny. It was a funny clip too. It was a comedic clip, because it was on the most underrated invert. So I did it on a cricket, just a regular cricket. And I was holding the cricket in my hand, and I did, I don't know, 25 or 30-second video on the cricket. And he skipped it. He said I loved it. When I sent it to him, he's like, I love it. It's just he just forgot to put it in. And I guess he forgot to put more than one in then, huh? Yeah, I'll let you know, Phil. Yeah, and that can be too. I mean, you know, there are a lot of posts that go on that tarantula community Facebook group too. I was surprised, how it goes, but I can't do it as announcements, so only the admins can do. So I just put it on there and then hope. And what I need to do is set up like a friends list of Colab, just YouTube video people, so that I can just send people messages, say, hey, I'm doing this if you're interested. It might be a little bit easier. I know it. I can't remember whose live stream I was on not too long ago, and I had a bunch of stuff I wanted to do, and I was just intrigued. I was chatting with a couple people on there. Whose was that? It wasn't even a tarantula one. It was a snake one, and I don't even know how I came across it. Maybe it was BC pythons. Maybe I can't remember. It was I don't know, about a month ago. And the stuff they were talking about. I mean, I don't even have a snake, but the stuff they were talking about was kind of intriguing. Yeah, I've been on for 2 hours and 40 minutes now. this will end up being roughly 3 hours, and then we'll call it a day, so I can put everybody back, and go to sleep because I got a 12-hour day tomorrow. We'll do more of these. I'm trying to do what I want to do for you guys over in the UK is do a Saturday afternoon one. Not this weekend because I'm to work, but the next time I get an opportunity on a Saturday where I could do a Saturday afternoon one where it's more feasible hours for you guys over there in the UK, and it's not so late like it is now. But I've had a couple people ask me specifically if I could do an earlier one. I'm like, well, it's kind of tough, when you work from, I work from 6:30 to 2:30, and then I get home by 3, and then I got to go pick up Eric from track or cross country, at 4:30. Then we eat. By the time it's all done, it's easily 6 o'clock here, which generally midnight at your place. Yeah, my little disc list that I got last week from Pelt Friction's kind of done that. Just a little bit of webbing on the outside, but it's webbed a curtain, a dirt curtain up and around. Kind of reminds me of Ornithopterus tibialis. I absolutely love those tarantulas. Um, the funnel that one's made going down is just absolutely intriguing. She's getting a deeper enclosure soon. And then my Selenocosmia covariki, I enjoyed watching that one. It's got like 3 little dirt turrets, but I don't see the spider anymore. It's been a while since I've seen it. Hey, there's Jay now. I was talking about your son earlier, Jay. I still have the picture that he sent me. I think you should get some more supplies to build me a tarantula room. That's what you need to do, Jay. Yes, you guys have invert shows all over. I thought you were going to bed. Sophie's mom. You guys have like invert shows all over the place. It seems like that's what I see, and it's funny because like, this may sound bad, but I get over inundated with all the channels that I'm subscribed to from the UK, and you'll have 10 or 15 videos of what did I get at Northern Invert Show, or what did I get at C's, or what did I get at the a BTS, or it's like you see one and then you see the next one, and by the third one you don't even want to watch them anymore because the footage at the expos are pretty much all the same. But I like seeing what people get. I like seeing what people's interests are. That always intrigues me. I'm still not caught up with the comments yet. You got Bugfest, and you got all kinds of stuff over there. I don't know what's going on here with our Erie Expo. I don't think they're going to have it anymore. So I got to wait till May to go to Buffalo. Sleep's overrated, unless it's my sleep that's being disturbed. Yeah, there is quite. There, what you guys pushing 2 o'clock in the morning over there? Phil, honestly, I almost walked away from this in November. With all the stuff that happened, over the summer, and I was just having a hard time, the effort I was putting into the videos, and then the people, the slow and low amount of views I was getting was really, really disheartening to me. And had a handful of people on the Facebook group said, no, you can't walk away. There's not enough channels like yours. You just can't. We won't let you. Honestly, the channels are growing right now much quicker than they did when I started. It took me 13 months to get 1K, I think. I've seen channels start out, 3 months ago, 4 months ago that are already at 800. It just because I think what's happening is the people that are doing the videos, there's so many more of them, so they're all subscribing to each other, which brings the totals up. It's not even the subscribers that you need to worry about, it's the views. The views are what's important. Subscribers don't mean anything without the views. Like I can attest to that. I mean, I have 2,100 subscribers, and I'm only getting, on a feeding video anymore, 250 views in a 2-week time. I think that's, to me, that's not a lot of views. Like Andy's last feeding video was just a few days ago, and he was already at like almost 300 views. His feeding videos are really well done. People like watching his. He probably has, on a channel by channel basis, he probably has the best feeding videos, his montage feeding videos, than any other channel. I'd like to get 70 subs a week. I think I'm only getting like on average 3 a day. I was up to 10 a day for a little while, like a month, and then it died and went down to like 1 a day for a while, and I think I went a week without getting any new subs. It was, I was like, ugh. But Ray, with Bird Spider CH, the problem with channels like his is that it's an informational channel. So if there's not entertainment, the people that want to be entertained just skip over it. They don't want to watch it. It's the same with bugs and stuff. Predator or Prey Online. Tom Moran. Don't you think Tom Moran should have 4 times the amount of subs that he has? There's no way that certain channels have more subs than him. I don't understand it. But that's the problem, is that most people want to go to YouTube to see flashy stuff. They want to see fun. They want to be entertained. Not many people go to YouTube to be educated. They think that Google is their way to be educated, so they don't need to go to YouTube for that. They want to be entertained. They want to pass their time sitting on their bed or on their couch, watching someone, have fun and putting these little tiny fun clips in their videos, and being jovial and a lot about them, and that's what people are drawn to. It's just fun. And channels like mine and Tom's and Gar's and Bird Spider CH, they suffer because of that, as far as numbers are concerned anyway. I was really moving on Instagram. I think I'm at like, not at 1K. I tell you that, I'm at like 680 something. That was my goal, was to hit 1K on Instagram, but I get 1 or 2 a day, sometimes 3. It depends on what I put on. I haven't put anything on in a few days. I haven't really done pictures, but my Penaloris is out, so we'll get some nice pictures of her tonight. I wish she would molt. If she molts, and I can find a male for her. Yeah, she's a little star already, huh? Star in the making at 130 subs. That's kind of cute. You got to brand her. That's what you have to do. That got to get some stickers and shirts and stuff made up with her logo on it. I'm hoping that my new logo will be done by summer. We'll have to see. My son's girlfriend is drawing it up. I can explain to you how it's going to look if she gets it done. But what I went with was, think of a circle. The bottom part is a brick wall, and hanging over the brick wall is a spider with a do-rag on, and the spider has 4 legs sticking over, and the 4 legs have cans of spray paint on it, or in it, and then going across the brick wall, it says eeriearachnids in graffiti, so in different colored painting. And then the backside, if you think of the backside of the shirt, it would see the backside view of that. So you have the brick wall and the backside of the tarantula looking over. So you have a front and back of the t-shirt. It's just going to take her some time to draw it. She's more of a painter than she's a drawer, so we'll see what she comes up with. But I dreamt this up one day, and I love the way that I think it would look more cartoony than more spidery. But yeah, I think it would be fun seeing the graffiti going across the wall like that, and the tarantula actually had just got done spray painting it on there. Yeah, that West Coast arachnid thing, I don't even want to have anything to do with it. I just think the more that we draw attention to it, the more attention she's getting. I mean, she was blowing people's videos out of the water, which is that first one, because so many people were, um, they wanted to go over there and just yell at her for everything, and that's exactly what she wanted. And she got exactly what she wanted, and she got attention. She got, I don't know what her problem is. There apparently is something there, but I mean, we went through some tarantula community. I said, I honestly myself believe that we just leave her alone and she'll go away. If we continue to give somebody attention, then they want more attention. And so I've seen that with some YouTubers really, that they got some attention and it really, they really liked it, and it went to their head, and they want more, and they got more, and it's just not enough. They just want more and want more and want more. So I think that's the problem with her is I haven't watched any, just that first little part of that one video of the wood chips and the cobalt blue, and she's just going to keep on making videos if people keep on giving her attention. And I think she's probably got the attention that she needs now to sustain herself. I think she's doing that on purpose. I think she's calling her teas reptiles on purpose because people they got a rise out of that, and she's basically, to me, she's nothing more than a troll on Facebook. She's just saying everything wrong that she can to get people to comment. I don't know. I stayed away from anything that she's done. I don't want to have anything to do with anything that she's done. I was asked to do a reaction video to her real quickly after it was done, and I decided not to. And then Mark was going to do it for Mark's Tarantulas, and we had a big discussion on the tarantula community, and then he decided not to do it too. I don't know that it would have done anybody any good, really, to do that, but yeah, it's a shame that. How you doing, Ed? I just sorry, I'm so far behind. I'm a half an hour behind on comments here. Yeah, I don't know. Just somebody that you want them just to go away. Yeah, if you stop, well, I mean, maybe you should go to sleep, and you can catch the next one. I don't want you guys to stay up too late and have bad days tomorrow and say, oh, if eeriearachnids would have just stopped doing this, I would have got some sleep. But is it a male? Your Schwarderi paranormal? I don't know how close mine is to maturing. I still think he's got a couple years left, but I know that Allie and Jared have a female. So this one's kind of on tab to go to them if we do get maturity soon. I mean, again, I'm saying he because I'm pretty sure he's a he. I didn't see anything in the one molt, and the last molt was ripped up, so. But he's already at like 3 inches, so they don't get very big, the Schwarderi. There was a time, Ed, that's all I did was watch YouTube, and I've actually slowed down quite a bit. Again, that had a little bit to do with some of the stuff that went on over the summer and some of the stuff that went on in the fall. And then some of the channels that I really, really enjoyed watching that kind of don't know, they went off in a direction, and not just the channel itself, but themselves, that just, I don't know, I lost a little bit of faith in everything, and so I don't watch as much. Now I'm watching new channels now, and staying away from some of the channels I used to watch. I mean, I'll be flat out honest with you, I don't watch Exotic Slayer at all anymore. I'll watch Petco every now and then, depending on what his video topic is, but I I respect Exotic Slayer for what he does, but the stuff is not interesting to me anymore. It's just like, it's repetitive stuff over and over and over again. I know people get mad when I say anything about some of these channels, and I don't really want to diss anybody, but it's like bland anymore. There's no taste to it. I don't know. Just not for me anymore. And I used to watch everything of his because, you know, we supported each other. But there was some things that happened, and I was not happy about it, and that kind of caused me to lose interest in some of that stuff. I think over the course of the next couple of weeks, I'm going to start doing a few more videos to get some videos out there for people that want the videos and not so much the live stuff. Because once spring comes and Alex starts playing baseball, and then Eric's running track, my limited time, you know, after work it gets limited, because Alex is playing ball in Pitt Bradford, which is a couple hours away to drive. But you know, if he's pitching, then we want to go. You know, I want to go and see him. So you know, by the time you drive up there and back, it kind of puts you off a few days. So I'm trying to get some videos done and stored in this phone, because I have a lot of storage in this phone. So that when that stuff happens, I'll be able to put some stuff out for people. But I'm looking for different videos to do. I have to do the Serrata Jar Starlingy, which is a subscriber requested. I'm doing one subscriber request video a month. I have the one for February. I got to hurry up and get that done. And then the one for March, I already have the topic for that one that I have to get done. So I'll be looking for people later on. So, you know, if I come to you and say, hey, can you give me a topic to do, you'll be the subscriber of the month, basically. But trying to do something different, so it's not, you know, my stuff is, I don't want it to be bland. I want it to be, you know, interesting and fall back on things. We're going to redo the Tarantula tour here, instead of going country by country, because it's just getting too difficult to do that, because new stuff's coming in, stuff's going out, and I think I'm going to go genus by genus, and then we could talk about where each of those are from, and kind of give you a dynamic of, you know, the countries that they're from, and the temperatures, and you know, what their habits are there. You know, we could do it alphabetically. I don't know, because people are so looking forward to the African ones, so I may just do the African genus first. The problem is getting good footage of them, because they're hiding all the time. That's where you have that YouTube flaw, because sometimes you can't get the footage that you need. It just takes time, Sophie's mom, really. It just takes time and experience and working with them and making mistakes. Because I've made a bunch of mistakes in my time, and you learn from them. So again, what I did, Sophie's mom, and I mean, I could do this for you. I've done it for a handful of people. If you want to, you know, come to me and just, you know, like almost like a mentor program, where I worked with a couple people that helped me out a lot, and they never hesitated to answer my questions. It may take them a little time to get back to me, but they never hesitated to answer questions, and you know, they were always eager to pass on their information and their knowledge. So I have no problems doing that with people. I know that, you know, I mean, you know, we're sitting here for almost 3 hours now, and I've talked about a bunch of different things too, and I don't know how much people have learned over this course of 3 hours, but I mean, we have touched a lot of different topics. So I have no problem. I mean, if you want to send me a friend request on Facebook, and you know, you want to ask me questions on Messenger or whatever, I'm more than happy. I have a couple other people that I'm working with right now that, you know, I think they thought they knew a little bit more than what they really did, and they were just, you know, on the tarantula community itself, they were giving out wrong information. So I said, hey, this is what's really, what's really going on. So what you really should be looking for. And, if you keep giving out bad information, people aren't going to trust you. They're not going to listen to you. So I think it's very important. And I think it is on YouTube too. If you continually give out bad information or you look like you don't know what you're talking about, eventually people are going to figure it out. So keeping in that comfort zone of things that you are comfortable with. Um, I've always said that it's very difficult to give advice on something that you don't keep. So, you know, if it's for me to give out, um, information on most of the avicularias would be unfair to people because I haven't kept them. I've kept some, but I haven't kept them all, and some of them are different. Like Nandu Trepepe, do I think there's a lot of difference between some of the other Nandus? Probably not, but I've never kept one. So for me to give you information on that is unfair, and so I think people need to understand that. But I'm more than happy to work with anybody. Yeah, Philip, you were leaving a long time ago too. So there was a few of you that were leaving a little while ago, and I said I was going to be done in 3 hours, and here I am still on 8:30. Yeah. So okay, Paranormal. My advice. I'm not saying that H. gabonensis aren't good communally, but I think H. villicella are much better communally. Um, I think honestly, if I had to say, in order of communal species of what the success rate would be Balfouri and then Villicella right underneath them, and then the you have the Hystericades, Hystericrades, Gigas, who don't do bad for a while. Most of the Poecilotheria will be okay for a while, and then the Neoholteli Inse, of course, will do okay. Sometimes the communal works out real well, and sometimes I haven't been successful with the two that I've tried. But Chase Campbell has been running a communal for 5 or 6 years now. It's sustained itself. They keep breeding, and two of the babies I have here were from his communal. He needed to thin down, so he just sent them in a different order stuff. So, um, yeah, I think Villicella is a little bit better than Gabonensis as far as communally is concerned. They I think they're more tolerant of each other in burrows than Gabonensis are. I think you need a little bit more vertical with Gabonensis and places for them to hide more. That's my experience with the two. I've done both of them. The Villicella I only did with two, and it ended up being a male and a female. The male matured and died in the burrow. I didn't even know he matured till I dug him out, and then the female died not long after. But yeah, they were really good with each other. They shared meals quite a bit. With the Gabonensis, I had three, and they would go off in their own space. So, when they go off in their own space, they don't interact with each other in the same burrows a lot. Then you start to tend to worry about them. So that would be my advice anyway. The best first old world to get, that depends on the person really. But if I had to say, for in general, I would say the Serrata jar starlingi. They can be a little high strung, um, but I don't think they're as quick to want to leave their enclosure as others do. They do a good amount of webbing. They won't burrow. They do like to come out a little bit. I've not had a threat posture out of either one of the two that I have. My subadult or immature female, and then the sling. Um, and believe it or not, the Chilobrachys fimbriatus is not a bad old world to start out with either. They can be a little quicker, but if you set them up right, they're not going to take off either. And that's the big thing that people worry about with old world species is they're going to jet on them. They don't want them to jet, and no, we don't want. I don't want any of my spiders to jet on me. But old worlds, you have that in the back of your head a little bit more worrisome. But I would say the fimbriatus, Chilobrachys fimbriatus, or Serrata jar starling would be the two that I would recommend as a first-time old world species. Yeah, Peter. Well, I talked to Peter. He said he gets more out of the hobby by sending gifts to people than he does actually the hobby itself. And you could just tell by the way he is. Yeah, you get some decent channels from these live streams. Absolutely. Oh, the Thai golden fringe. That's the Ornithoctonus oreotibialis. One of my favorite old world species. I love mine. I really hope she's a female. The bouquet. Bouquet's a new world. Sericopalma species bouquet. Straight-hand baboon is Marshalli, OBT, and then the P. regalis. Yeah, that's a good thing about the live too, is that you get a lot of watch time out of it. But I'm actually, I'm surprised that there's still 14 people in here. Usually when I get towards the end, people start crawling out. But it's nice to see people that know that they should be going to sleep and not. They keep staying in. That's kind of cool. It really is. It just, yeah, I mean, you don't realize how much that actually means to people. Yeah, it's raining like crazy right now here. I don't know that it's cold enough to freeze, but by the time I get up to go to work, I'm sure that my car will have a nice sheet of ice all over it. Yeah, we do need our own Peter over here, don't we? Maybe we can get Peter to move over here and move away from the UK. 11 degrees Celsius. I should be able to transfer that to Fahrenheit, but that's got to be 40, 50, right? 50 degrees roughly. I'm guessing 50 degrees Fahrenheit. I mean, yeah, I'm sure that our schools allow 2 hour delay tomorrow. They like doing the 2 hour delay because then they still, because we live out in the country, so a lot of side roads, and a lot of them, the way the road's crowned, and then you have the ditches on the side for drainage. Um, so they worry about the side roads for buses and the kids that have to walk to the buses, and so they'll put a 2 hour delay on, let the plows ice and or plow and then salt, and then they still get credit for a whole day instead of they want to make it up. So that we get a lot of those here. Yeah, Hazel's a good guy. I would send a lot of stuff out too if I had the money to do it. It's just the shipping is crazy here. Yeah, that's another thing that I don't get a lot of my videos. A lot of comments, and the comments that I do get, it's basically the same people, uh, from video to video to video. We'll get a few new ones here, but I haven't had any bad comments in a long time, so I kind of glad that I don't get that anymore. That's some really doozies for a while there. How close are you, Ray? Yeah, Tom Rand should have a ton more than he does. I mean, I think he should have way more than DTG. But that's just my opinion. Yeah, Gar's a good guy. I like Gar. He's kind of similar to me. He's a little bit more extroverted. He's a little bit more out there. I think he's a very interesting person. What I like about Gar is that he's another one. You don't know what Gar you're going to get from video to video, and what you may stumble upon in his videos. That's what I like. He's one that I mean he's been putting out a ton of stuff, so I'm way behind in his stuff. But I generally um, kept up with his videos and Andy's. I always watch Andy's stuff. Andy's probably my best friend on YouTube. Um, and Vic, from Spidey V. Vic's a good guy. So like I said, there's a handful that I religiously watch everything that they put out. Carolina, I try to watch everything from her. Um, I don't watch like her movie reviews and stuff like that, but her Friday feeding frenzies, I look forward to those every week. I don't think Gar actually needs a shout out. He's doing pretty well on his own. I think he's probably going to blow up with his was that Sturmy that he had the egg sac from, and then the Terranocheilus marinus tete. I'm kind of jealous of that because mine are still large slings, I guess you call them. They're not quite juveniles, but they're not really quite small slings anymore. Yeah, people wanted me to do a parody video, which I actually had a parody video all written up. Um, it would have been Kat, Vic, Shanti, and Andy were the ones that I was going to parody, and then I just changed my mind. There was some things that, like I said, things that happened, and I just didn't want to do it. And you kind of get worried, like when channels get big, like God forbid that you would go on like tarantula owners worldwide and say something bad about Exotic Slayer or Dark Den, and see the amount of people that just blow you away. They want to murder you. These bigger channels have very, very dedicated fans, and um, some of them aren't even really tarantula keepers. That's the thing, is that I think a lot of Exotic Slayers subscribers aren't even keepers of tarantulas. They just enjoy his stuff. Oh yeah, I'm just getting to you, Drew. You comment on 8:20. It's 8:41 here, so I'm only 11 minutes behind now with the comments. No, you don't want to know, Trace. You don't want to know. It's a train wreck, is what it is. It's an absolute train wreck, and that's why people are going there, because everybody wants to see the train wreck. I'm enjoying that you're enjoying my live stream. I think he did. He probably fell asleep on the keyboard. Oh, your Shorderi is female. So if yours is female, what happened? Oh, there we go. I lost the screen there. Yes, O Filipinas, keep them damp. Okay, keep them damp, and not super damp, but keep them damp, and then leave a corner dry. Give them cover, like some sticks, thick logs that you can. It depends on what size you're getting, of course. If it's just a sling, just put it in a 50-gram vial with a little fake plant, but keep it damp. They seem to prosper a little bit more in damp. I mean, the Philippines, where they're from, is a little bit more damp than not. So you kind of keep up on them. Just don't overdo it with the water, because you'll just get mold real quick. But keep airflow. You want to have airflow in there too. My old Filipinas Cheeto, was not one of my best eaters as far as Asians are concerned. I was kind of surprised how little she ate, but when she did, she hammered it. She would go through long periods of time with pre-molt. So if she's not eating for a while, or if it's not eating for a while, don't get too alarmed, because I call it, they have the New World tendencies of long fasting periods where most of your old world species don't go through those fasting periods. Um, yeah, I mean, I raised mine from, she was 3/4 inch to when she passed away. It was the worst day in the hobby for me, is when she passed away. Um, she was a little over 3 inches, 3.5 inches, and she still had a couple inches to go before she was, a full adult. I wanted to breed her in the worst way. She just never made it there, and I think it was just because I let it dry out a little bit too much. But yeah, they definitely want water. Give her a nice, again, depending on how big it is. If it's just a sling, just keep it moist. As they get bigger, give them a nice, decent, flat size. Not very deep, but like a nice, I don't know what kind of lid. Maybe a 2 inch or 2.5 inch lid that's kind of shallow, that keep water in it all the time. Keep it away from where they web. They won't web up everything, so keep it away from where they web, and they won't web it over. And they will drink out of the water dish, the O. Philippinus. G. pulchra. You're probably actually getting a G. quiorgi or quiorgi, but again, we don't know. Hopefully the Grammostola genus reclassification will help in that aspect. The problem is that we don't know what we have in the hobby, so when they do the DNA testing there, where they come from, you're going to know what species is what, but we're not still going to know exactly what we have. So you may see the pulchra species labeled to it for a long time, and not the change or to the other species of the quiorgi. If you go to the World Spider Catalog, if you guys don't know, it's a very, very good source of information. Go to the World Spider Catalog, bookmark it on your computer or on your phone, and then you go there and you can type in any genus and species, and then go look at Grammostola pulchra and Grammostola quiorgi, and look at how close they are together. You'll be surprised, and you'll be surprised what you're seeing from the pulchra, and what you'll see as a pulchra, in your hand. If you've got one in your hand and you look at the World Spider Catalog, and you're gonna do a double take, and then you go to the quiorgi, and you're gonna be like, kind of looks more like that than it does the other thing. So I mean, like I said, you really can't. I mean, it's, again, just things you hear from people I've talked to that do this stuff down in South America, so kind of have a better idea. But until this stuff is actually done, even though they pretty much say they know what's going on down there, it's just that we haven't caught up to any of that stuff. That's kind of crazy. All these people are subbing everybody else on this. Although my sub count has gone up, like I said, my podcast have really helped the subs a little bit. Yeah, doing stuff different is helpful. I mean, my feeding videos still do very well. Man, you guys are commenting like crazy here. I can't keep up. How many does Sophie have? More than just the three that I saw in the video, right? Or just the three? Okay, so this is what I'll tell you, Paranormal. And this is just because I can't give all the information out, because that it would be wrong. But based on the U.S. FWS, and again, there's some vendors that are kind of fighting it, and they don't want to panic, and nobody does. But go by what Pulp Friction's doing, and because they're getting the information straight from them. Now, other vendors are saying they're getting different information, so I don't understand why they would think that. What benefit does it have for pelt friction to pull all their Brazilian species and not even sell them, period? I mean, they're not even selling them in Michigan anymore. Or, well, the Celadonias they're not selling at all, but the Brazilian species are still just in Michigan. So what benefit does it have for them not to sell them and ship them across state lines? So there's going to be something going on, and it's just a matter of no one's got black and white information on, are these going to be affected? Are we not going to be able to ship them anymore or sell them anymore? So the way that I understand it, it's a very good possibility that if you have Brazilian species in your house, that they're going to be the last ones that you do have. But again, I can't say that for 100% certainty. If you're I don't know, I mean, I can't advise anybody what to do as far as buying Brazilian species, because I don't want people to say, well, eeriearachnids told me not to get them, but everybody else is selling them, and then I don't want them to say that, eeriearachnid says it's okay, and then you guys get in trouble. So I just go by what pelt friction is doing. That's me. I have a Nandu Colorado velocis. It's a Brazilian tarantula that is probably gravid and could be laying an egg sac at any time. That's a 50-50. I'm gonna have to send all those babies to her, and now what am I going to do with the ones that are going to be left? Because you're talking a possibility of 800 little tiny ones, which there'd be a possibility that I may have no outlet for them. So if I would have known this stuff prior to that, I never would have mated her. Again, this is for people that are in the United States only, not for you guys in the UK. You guys have different laws over there. This is our Lacey Act that's killing us. I think you can get them cheaper than that, Trace. Actually, I think Adam Erickson had them. I want to say he was selling for $40. Like, don't quote me on that, but go to Erickson's Exotics, look that up, and then see what he's got them for. I think they were pretty cheap. Those in the Samopaeus Victoria that he bred, they both were rather cheap. Yeah, I hate those long weeks with those long hours. I got to do 12 hours tomorrow, and then I'll be on the weekend for just regular 8 hours. And then I'll have at least one day. I think it's Wednesday next week. I'll be on a 12-hour one too. That's tough because staying over now. We have a new supervisor, maintenance supervisor on second shift, and he's still learning. There's not a lot of help, and a lot of times we need a little bit of help. CNC machines can be tough to troubleshoot sometimes. The community itself is blown up in 2018. I want to say there was, I would say at least an 80% increase, or 80% of people that you see in the hobby right now all started in 2018 or late 2017. It's just been a huge amount of people, not just on Facebook, Instagram, and but pet YouTube has gone crazy. So it's not just tarantulas; it's other things too, snakes and lizards and leopard geckos. Everything else has gone nuts too. So yeah, there's been a huge amount of people that have gotten into the hobby. I think it's because social media made it more acceptable, where it's not so taboo anymore. People are like, why in the hell do you keep tarantulas? And when you find like-minded people, it makes the thing much more enjoyable. I mean, there's nobody, and my brother has them. Like, I can't say there's nobody. My brother has tarantulas, but other than him, there's nobody else in my family that has any interest in even looking at them. Yeah, Tarantulas Worldwide is a Facebook group, Ed. Oh, a train wreck is that West Coast arachnids. Yeah, no problem, Drew. I'm happy I can help, well, at least a little bit anyway. I'm gonna start doing some more species specific stuff, so you'll be able to see some more things. I don't know what the Nandu species red is. I don't know if they're calling that, the Nandu carapoensis, and they're just using a species red. I don't know. I have not seen one. Personally, I love my Nandu carapoensis, but I don't know. I've seen them being sold, as Nandu species red, but I don't know what it is. There's a couple other species that, again, when you see that species, sometimes you don't know the Nandu name was given, but they could be other species down there like Viritalis. I think there's a genus Viritalis that looks very, very strikingly similar to Lasiodorus and Acanthoscurrius. So, there's another genus that has some of those features that people get mixed up, and they're like, oh, I have this, I bought this as this, and you're looking at it, you're like, oh, that's definitely not that. And, again, it's not a very popular genus. People don't know a lot about them, but I think there are a lot of ones that have been brought into the imports here that are this. I want to say it's Vitalis. I'm not exactly 100% sure the exact genus name, but I think there's some of those that are being mistaken for Acanthoscurria and maybe even Lasiodora. So I'm not sure what the Nandu species red even is. Eight teeth. She has 8 of them now. So maybe next time everybody that's all intrigued with this chat can get more people to come in next time. Although I'll never be able to keep up with comments. I may have to actually do a moderator in here. But again, people that I have in here, none of them are any problems. Just a matter of keeping up with the comments. 28 in July. I'll be 50 in July. July 25th. See how close our birthdays are. I haven't done one in a while, and that was the last one I did was the Brachypelma shorteri, I think was the last showcase video I did. I keep getting on these, this path, I want to do this, and then I kind of, I go off to another tangent, and then sometimes I lose interest in things, and I'll lose interest in things if the videos don't do well also. So, I mean, if I do a video and it doesn't do well, I don't want to do another one like it, so. Yeah, I like the Phormictopus too. I only have the two. I was contemplating the Phormictopus species South Hispanola in this last. That was when I thought maybe that Allie would send, but she sent me the Sericopelma generalum instead, which was the tops on my list actually. The stuff that she had that I would like to get. So I do have 4 of the summer. That's going to be the genus spotlight that I do next, the Sericopelma. So we have the Santa Catalina, the generalum, the species bouquet. She should be molting sometime soon, and then my rubronitans. So we'll do a genus review on those. I think more people need to be aware of that genus because they're just absolute feeding machines. No, the vampire crab didn't live. I think it only made it like 7 days. I got a small pump for it to put in, and I was trying to figure out a way to set it up and just to make the water circulate. And I went to look at her the one day, and she wasn't in the water, and I found her burrowed, and I think she was getting ready to molt, and she wasn't moving. So I don't know what happened. She seemed to be eating okay, but she could have been already full grown. I don't know. Temperature seemed to be right. I don't know what happened. It was just, something, a whim kind of a thing, and I don't think that anything that I did killed it, but I probably won't do anything like that again. I need to have more room and be able to set something up a little bit different. I gotta go work early tomorrow too. I'm not gonna be on much longer, Ray, so have a good night. Yeah, we'll do the collection tour in bits and pieces. There's too many of them to do in one video. I'd like to be, when I do the tours, I'd like to be able to talk about them a little bit. So, if we do the Sericopelma, there's 4 of them, so that's going to be at least a 20-minute video for those 4. Being able to spend 5 minutes on each one, try to throw a feeder in there or something with them, and talk about where they're from and their habits and stuff like that, and what I've experienced with them in that aspect. That's kind of what I like to do with the spotlight and the tour video. I talked to somebody that raises the vampire crabs, and he just, all he does is different kind of crabs. So the Halloween moon crabs and these vampire crabs, and it was something else. He does hermit crabs and some other stuff. And he said if you put them in the right thing, they will just they'll live forever. Well, their lifespan anyway. But giving them enough water. He said the best thing to do is actually have a big square tank and have their land in the middle. So like a rocky outcrop that comes up, and then the water around the outside of it, and then some type of a pump system so that the water is, creating movement, because they do need to have, I guess, the water currents, the actual moving water. They don't do really well in the stagnant water. That's why I brought that little tiny pump, and I was trying to figure out how to put it in, the water in there, and I just never got, I had a chance. Before I got it in there, it already passed away. Yeah, I'm pretty much caught up. I think I'm actually not 100% caught up, but I'm pretty quick. Yeah, I could do something like that, Christian. It's doing just talking videos isn't very difficult. It's a little bit easier when you have the spiders in front of you, but again, I want to make sure that it's something that I've raised. I don't like to give out information or try to steer people in one direction if it's something that I haven't had before. I mean, there's some that I don't have anymore that I've raised already. So it's just amount of experience. But I'd be more than happy to try to do something like that. They're just little tiny crabs. They're like the Halloween crabs, moon crabs that there are. Just look up vampire crabs online. They're little tiny. Sometimes they're like red or purple, and they have these big yellow bulgy eyes, and they hunt at night. So that's why they're called vampire crabs, because they're out at night and they got those big yellow bulgy eyes. But they're like a 50-50. They're a land crab, but more in the water kind of crab. They only get like a big. And they move sideways just like all the other kind of crabs do. It was kind of interesting. I saw them at the pet store, and there was one left, and I was like, I'll give it a shot. I'll see what I can do. I really enjoyed looking at it. I only got a few pictures of it, but they were a lot of fun. Little C, yeah, we're pushing 3 hours and 34 minutes on live. That's been an awful long time. Way longer than I thought. I should be sleeping myself by now, to be honest with you. So we'll go to let's see, 10 more minutes. Well, 9:15 a.m. here, so whatever it is at your 9:15 p.m. Sorry, wherever it is, there 10 more minutes of. If you have any quick questions you want me to answer, you got 10 minutes. Hello, Amy. So Eric is home. Yep. Is that Eric or Haley? Haley was 8 to 9:30. Eric was 7:30 to 9, 7:30 to 8:30. Yeah, that's Eric. Am I right? That's Amy. Gotta be. Oh God, favorite tea that I own. That, you know, the answer to that question is whichever one's in front of me at the time, really. But there's a few that, um, there's a few. I'm just, my simultaneous pulkers are really, really high up there as far as my favorite spiders are concerned. Um, my gift spiders like my Brachypelma albiceps and Brachypelma humori females that I got. My Ornithoctone species present day abuelas, I adore those. My PBB, it's hard to really pick my favorite one, but if you came to me and said you can only keep one out of all these, believe it or not, I would keep Obi, my Brachypelma humori male. And it's kind of funny, and Amy will probably get a laugh at that, but I got this from Cody Wilson, um, 4 years ago or so, and it was just I bought it for myself as a Christmas present, and I spent about a week talking to him back and forth before I finally finalized everything. And the PayPal account that he sent me, I missed one letter in it, so it was, I was waiting for him to get back to me. And I was like, "What's going on? When are you gonna mail it?" He's like, "I haven't got the money yet." And I was like, "Are you kidding me?" So I had to cancel that payment and then redo it before he could send it. But yeah, that would probably be the one that I would keep, believe it or not, my male Homora. Even though he's a little high strung, he's probably my favorite. Do I handle any of my teas? I have, yes. Not very often. My Homoioma chilensis, I'll hold her if she wants to come out. The one that's with Tracy right now, Cujo, I held him a handful of times. He was pretty tolerant of being handled. The first couple times he would come out on me. Then after that, like you get to the point where they touch you on the skin and they go right back in again. There's been a couple that I've held that you didn't really want to, but I don't like generally purposely coax them out to be held. No, that's not. I don't really do that. If somebody's crawling out, I'll put my hand there. If they want to come out, they come out. If they don't, they go back in. But no, I don't generally hold them on purpose. Yeah, yeah. Well, you know how it is, Amy. Maybe the next time I'll send you a message before I do this. I want to try and get on a little early so some of the UK people can get a little bit of time. It seems like some of my UK people that are struggling to stay awake are still in. Yes, I do have Aphonopelma chalcodes times 2. Um, I have an Aphonopelma simani juvenile male, and I have an Aphonopelma moderatum. I think those are the only ones that I have left. Go to bed.
You're seriously still on that?
Yeah, just for a few more minutes. I dropped my phone. I'm glad I don't drop my phone. My son's complaining because I'm still online. I don't know why. He should be going to bed anyway. He wants to play Fortnite. Give him a little time after he molts, Trace, and I bet you will. After he eats once or twice. Yeah, I don't play it, but he's addicted to that damn thing. Yeah, it's way too popular than it should be, to be honest with you. They started with Minecraft, Eric and Haley. They played a lot of Minecraft, but this Fortnite kills our bandwidth. So he can't play the same time I'm online, or else it'll kill both of us. Actually, I've now completely caught up with the comments. I used to play Call of Duty. That was before I started working where I'm working now. I was laid off and I was home all day, and I got really good at it. But then when I started working here, I haven't really played it since. I mean, I used to play stuff when I was a kid, I mean, Atari came out when I was a kid, believe it or not. And, I mean, Pong was the big thing, the little vertical lines that went up and down. You play tennis or hockey or whatever. I think there was a couple other ones, but that's where I started. Then Atari came out with Pac-Man and Frogger and Pitfall and stuff like that. And then when my wife and I started dating and got married, we had, was it the GameCube, I think. It was a Donkey Kong and some other games, Diddy Kong, that her and I used to play when she was pregnant with Alex. She couldn't sleep. This was our daily routine. We'd go to work, come home, shower, eat, watch some TV, and usually NYPD Blue, and then we would play Nintendo. So one of us would be eating a bowl of ice, or not ice cream, but cereal, and the other one would play. And then when that person was done, we'd switch. That was our basically nightly routine. Yeah, honestly, I don't know really any of the game stuff that goes on today. I see a bunch of different, people talk about games like Red Dead Redemption 2, or whatever that people like, and some of the other crazy games that are out now, but I don't play. Yeah, I remember Coleco, the hand ones that I had, like the football and hockey ones. I wore the hockey one out twice. Yeah, I don't even know what Apocalypse is. Are these like games that you're playing on your computer, or are these actually like, game system games? The only game system games I played were Call of Duty. A little bit of Mario Kart racing. We would play with the kids, and Mario Party and stuff like that. When they were little, we played a lot of that stuff together. But I remember the name Diablo. I do remember, think I've seen it in the computer, the computer section in the box for the CD and stuff. But I don't remember the Coleco game station. I just remember the handheld ones. So the first one I got was a football, and then they made the hockey, and then they made the head-to-head football that I used to. Again, you could play that by yourself. You could play with a friend. I love that. Okay, guys, we got about 3 more minutes, and then we got to pack up everybody and take my medication to go to sleep. I probably won't need it, and then we'll do this again. I don't know, maybe the end of next week. And my oldest son plays the NHL games online. I played hockey myself for 11 years, from the age of 9 to the late age of 18. Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad that you stayed. I'm not glad that you're going to miss a bunch of sleep, but I am glad that you hung in there. Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. So, yeah, so everybody have a great night, and I'm going to get wrapped up here. We got to put my Fimbriatus away, and my dad was Panelorus. You guys want to see her real quick before we go? Maybe you guys can see her. I don't know. We just, I redid the home. She was in a shoebox, and she is, you can't see her right now there. See if you can see her right there. You see her now? Right there. She's got her butt in the air. I've had her for almost 4 years now. I got her as a half-inch sling. she's a confirmed female. I don't think she's completely fully grown. I think she's got maybe another inch to get it to get some size into her, but she is fully mature. Based on her molt, she's fully mature, so she could breed right now. I actually had a mature male that I sent off to Pelt Friction because they didn't line up. You know, with her molt and his molt, he had molted in a period that she was too far in her molt cycle to try and pair. So instead of me trying to do it and losing him, I decided to send, you know, I traded him into Pelt so that they could breed him. But all right, guys. So yeah, that's it. Again, I hope you guys had fun. I know I had a lot of fun, and got to talk to people I haven't talked to in a long time. And it was kind of nice to talk to some, you know, people that, I mean, we've had some people I've had some disagreements with, but you know, that's part of life, growing older and getting over some of that stuff and looking past things in the past. But I'm glad I met some new people and some new friends, and hopefully I'll be able to help some of you guys out in the future. And hope you guys enjoy some of the stuff that's coming up. And again, don't feel at all ashamed or hesitant to send me a message, and I'll try to do my best to answer everything you can, and help you out with videos if you need them, and we'll do what we can. So see you guys all later.